Hold on, I'm gonna cough. Hold on.
That was a weird sounding cough.
What?
Stu said, "I'm gonna cough," and then like some like laptop noise came from your sound. So
Was it me plugging in my Mac?
Yeah. That was the noise it was. I couldn't remember.
That's
what
really
noise it was.
funny.
It was hilarious.
This is an Animorphs book club podcast, the podcast where we have a book club about the Animorphs, specifically a podcast that's a club revolving around the books Animorphs, and it's a club about those books, and it's made into a podcast.
Specifically a book club.
This week we read book 15, The Escape, and we're going to talk about book 15, The Escape, after these messages.
After these messages?
Yeah. Message 1.
You should buy Kirby's Dream Land too.
Message 2.
You should join our Discord server.
Alright, we're back. This book. What do you think? Let's talk about the cover.
Wait,
if introduce ourselves.
Oh yeah, I forgot about all
Who
this.
are we?
I don't know. I'm the Be Natural, I think.
I'm better.
I'm Mustard.
I'm Stir.
I read this book a long time ago. Like, I read this book like as soon as we were done with the last book, and then we waited like 2 weeks to record this episode, so I don't remember a whole lot about it. I think I liked it. I remember reading this, and I was like, Batter's gonna love this book. That's what I was thinking while reading this.
Really?
I love this book, but I'm surprised and glad that you read that with me in mind, because I didn't like it like enough that I would be like, I don't know.
I have a very hot take. This was the first book that I considered giving a thumbs down.
Yeah.
I'm very interested to hear about that.
I'm not sure why, though. This book seems like nowhere near the worst, or even
I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why either, but it was just the first book that I was like...
Because you identify with Marco, and Marco does a lot of things that aren't you.
That's part of it,
you
actually.
feel a disconnect with him.
Yeah, this is like Marco's crocodile book, basically.
What?
No, it's not. He's very...
Absolutely, yes, it is.
Actually, there was a lot of stupid stuff in this book. But, okay,
so... There's not that much stupid stuff in this book at all.
No, listen, here's the thing.
This stupid free, as far as I remember.
There was some cool stuff in this book, but the thing was, the book took itself very seriously, so the stuff that I thought it was dumb in this book seemed even more dumb to me. Because book 12, the whole thing was really stupid, and I could just turn my brain off and laugh at it. But this book was serious, so the stuff that bothered me, I think bothered me even more.
That makes a lot of sense.
That's kind of why I didn't like book 2, was because it was taking itself too seriously, especially at the beginning. Because book 1 was like, oh, fun time, driving around in a golf cart, we like turning into animals. And book 2 was like, this is so depressing. We have an invasion of aliens, and we're probably all gonna die. That's how the book starts. Our only solace is that we can turn into birds and fly sometimes.
Aww.
Yeah.
And then I was like,
that's what the whole series is, I think.
Well, I guess
except for book 12.
The book 2 just like did that without me.
All the books I like are like that.
Now, something interesting happened with this book where I read it. I actually listened to the audiobook of this book 3 times. I mean, the third time it was on like ×3 speed, but I technically read this book 3 times, and every time I was like, yeah, the good stuff in this book does not save the book. And even like the stuff that I think Batter, you specifically loved, like I didn't like a lot of it. And we'll get into that. But I just like last hour, I just finished listening to an edited audio of book 10, which was Marco's last book. And some stuff that you guys said in that episode made me appreciate stuff in this book more. So like just like within this last hour, I listened to that audio, listened to the book 10, the podcast episode, I mean, and I went through my notes and I started liking some stuff more. I do have complaints though. We'll get to
Hey, Mustard, how does our audio sound?
I think it sounds fine. I don't know. So yeah, for like the last week, I was not very excited to talk about this book because I was just like, man, I didn't like this stuff, and I know Batter's gonna love it, so I don't know what I'm gonna be able to add to the conversation. But just literally like 2 hours ago, I was looking through my notes, and I reorganized my notes, and I put some stuff into perspective.
Why don't we just turn it upside down?
What?
Look,
I don't think anyone heard that. Oops.
Oh.
This is mega brain time.
This is mega brain.
Wait, what's happening?
Sorry, we're still dealing with this
thing. First we were big brain, now we're mega brain.
How do I sound?
Good.
Hooray!
Did you hear what I said earlier?
Oh, we're kind of talking over it, but it was just the same thing as you said before. Like you're not gonna look forward to it because you know I'll like it and you won't.
Yeah, but I'm looking forward to it now because I reorganized my notes and realized some stuff.
Okay.
I like the cover of this book a lot.
I think I took 0 notes about the cover. Hang on, I have to go
It's
look at it.
silly.
Well, I
Should we
never
do the
took
summary?
cover. Everything I say about the cover is completely candid, right on the spot while we're
Yeah,
recording.
I don't need to take notes on the freaking cover. All right, so I really like this. I think this is probably my favorite cover so far, except for the
Really?
cat one.
It's weird that his arms don't turn into his pectoral fins.
Yeah, they just shrink into
just
they
shrink into
they
it.
become little tiny arms on the second to last stage. I like that.
Yeah, this book cover is
like how
great.
the
It's
feet go together in this one. I like how they turned into the fin. I like this cover.
Yeah, his feet
And I
look
like
cool.
how he's diving into the water. That's epic. If I were like the other covers are like they look like a gimmick. Like the other covers are like, oh yeah, it's Animorphs. They have to have a kid turning into a thing in the top on the cover. But in this
Mhm.
one, like I could see this being a cover if this were like a standalone book.
I really like the background. I like the purple sky and the sunset and the water.
Yeah, I
oh
like
yeah,
the
it looks so natural in this one. Every other book, it looks like a hellscape for some reason.
See, I don't. I kind of like it when it's abstract in the background.
His face looks really silly on this cover.
I like his second one.
It looks like he's inflating.
No, he looks really depressed.
Does he?
He's just gazing off into the distance.
Yeah, that's that's how Marco is in this book.
It's so accurate.
It predicts Marco's like journey in this book.
I like the third one.
Yeah, that one's great.
Did you explain what this cover is?
Just a Marco turning into a hammerhead shark.
Is the video gonna have images on here?
I mean, the YouTube video will.
We're just talking about pictures that aren't being seen.
We always do that. Well, just Google if you're listening to this and you want to talk about, just Google Animorphs the Escape. Done. Easy.
Yeah, or
that's
Animorphs
true.
15. All right. Who's doing the summary?
I'm doing the summary.
Yo, while you're doing the summary, I am going to go get some water because my head hurts.
Okay.
Hey, Marco's dressed like Beavis on this cover.
Oh, he is.
Yeah, that's very clearly a Metallica t-shirt.
Yeah, it's the Black Album.
Okay, you guys ready for me to start?
Yeah.
Okay. Summary of the escape. The Animorphs free some parrots from a restaurant. This involves morphing the parrots for some reason. While they're at the mall, Jake and Marco run into Eric King, who tells them about how the Yeerks are planning something on an island that involves psychic aliens called Lyrans. Visser 1 is apparently involved, which makes Marco upset. He doesn't want the others to know about how Visser 1 is his mom, because he doesn't want them to pity him. They decide to go check out the island, but first they have to go to the garden so Tobias can get a dolphin morph. Hijinks ensue resulting from the fact that Tobias has to be a hawk to acquire animals. They go to the island and find an underwater building hidden by a hologram, but before they can do anything they are attacked by hammerhead sharks who seem to be smarter than normal sharks. They get away, catching a glimpse of a sub with a Lyran and Visser 1 inside. Marco goes home and inks for a while. The Animorphs decide to morph hammerhead sharks to blend in with the ones who are protecting the underwater building. They go to Ocean World and are almost caught by the guards, one of whom is a controller, but Axe floods the area they're standing in and they escape. Marco is almost eaten by a hammerhead, but he acquires it and brings it over to the rest of them to acquire. The Animorphs go out to the island and morph hammerheads. They go inside the building with the rest of the hammerheads and are pulled into a machine that puts implants into the sharks' brains. They all get implanted and released. They demorph and realize the implants prevent them from morphing anything small, so they must make this an attack mission rather than a spy mission. Jake, Rachel, and Cassie go into their battle morphs to create a distraction while Axe, Marco, and Tobias try to get to the controls and disable the implants. Marco accidentally walks into Visser 1's office while demorphed, but she mistakes him for a controller. Visser 3 shows up morphed as some kind of eel thing. Axe realizes that if they destroy the whole facility, the implants will dissolve so that they can't be found by humans. He decides to flood the building, but it puts it on a 5-minute timer so the Animorphs can escape. They go into their battle morphs and start kicking butt. Rachel almost kills Visser 1, but Marco stops her, finally admitting that she is his mom. Marco breaks a hole in the wall, causing the water to rush in.
I'm sorry, but I heard that as finally admitting that Rachel is Marco's mom.
Finally admitting that Visser 1 is his mom. Marco breaks a hole in the wall, causing the water to rush in. The Animorphs escape by morphing into sharks at the last second, but Marco is afraid that he might have killed his mom. The Lyran might have saved her, though, so who knows. Marco inks some more, and then the book ends.
That was very short.
Yeah.
I feel like we should go in order for this one because the order, unlike the last book, the order of this book actually matters.
I'll quick say, there's one thing you said in the summary that I didn't realize and I may disagree with until I actually look at what the text says.
But you disagree with my interpretation of what happened?
of one thing, of one thing you said.
Are you
It
gonna
ma-
wait
what?
until that happens to
Yeah, I'll
bring
wait to that. But it makes what you said makes a lot more sense, plot wise.
Okay,
it?
so
All right, we'll see then.
Yeah.
I feel like I feel like this book spends the most time like go with them trying to acquire things.
I really hated like the first like 2/3 of this book.
3/4. First 3/4.
You didn't
Hmm.
like the first 3/4 of this book, Star?
They're
You
absolutely
really-
terrible. If it was just 3/4, it would have been absolutely thumbs down.
Why did you thumbs up it? Oh wait, no, you gave it a meth face too, didn't you?
Yeah, the last quarter was brilliant.
Well, what was wrong with the first 3/4?
The last
It
quarter
was
was just
so boring, and everything Marco said fell flat. Nothing was entertaining.
I think
wow.
you guys,
So Marco's only important for his jokes, huh?
yeah.
Well, and the action, I don't
No,
like
that's
action.
grammatically correct because Marco has a hard time joking when he's upset.
Yeah, but even when like he's not upset, it's not these jokes aren't funny.
No, the last quarter of this book is good though, and that's not Marco making jokes.
Yeah, I love the last quarter, and he's completely serious there. And at the end, he's still upset, and he makes a joke in the last quarter. And
Try
it's
to
funny.
joke when he's upset, which is also thematically correct because Marco shouldn't feel like he has to be funny all the time.
No,
But
but he
he-
makes jokes near the end. Like as soon as his mom shows up, the book is
Are his
suddenly
jokes
really
better
good.
at the end?
Yes.
Okay, I literally cannot argue with you about that.
Guys, Marco's jokes aren't funny. This book's bad. You can't argue that.
The
No.
Animorphs, like whenever they narrate, they're like, "Oh, everyone else expects me to be the funny one, so I guess I gotta do that. I guess, even though I feel like I'm not the funny one, but everyone else sees it that way, so whatever. I guess." Like every single book, he's like, Rachel is always like, "Oh, all the other Animorphs think I'm so ruthless, so I guess I have to act like that." And Jake's like, "Everyone else thinks I'm the leader, so I guess I have to be the leader." Except Cassie. Cassie's just like freaking. Cassie's a sociopath.
See, maybe that's why I like them because I really identify with a character who has to do things because they feel like it's expected of them, even though they really don't like that. I think I'm just a sucker for that kind of plotline because that's why I really like that one Rachel book. But everybody else seemed to be like, oh, okay, that happened. But I was like, oh, Rachel,
Wait, which one?
the one where Rachel,
Her dad, Rachel's dad, right?
the one
Oh,
with
book
Rachel's
7?
dad, yeah.
Anyway, let's go plot-wise order then. Birds.
My first note is in the first paragraph, Marco says, "Yerks? What are yerks, you wonder?" And I said, "Nope."
I always kind of like my name, Marco. It brings Marco Polo to mind. Not that my last name is Polo, or maybe it is. I'm not going to tell you. I thought that was
Nice
silly.
save there, Marco.
And also, I thought it was dumb when he was like, "Oh, you might think, oh, well, if I had a yoke inside me, I would still be able to control myself." But you'd be wrong. I thought that was stupid. Like, no,
No,
who
I
would
think
that?
no.
When I was a
I think
kid,
that's very believable, especially if you're a child.
when I was
Because
a
it's
child,
hard for you to imagine what it's like not to be able to move your body parts.
yeah, when I was a child, I searched stories about like mind control or whatever, and I was like, well, that's stupid. I just wouldn't do what the guy said. Like I didn't understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just like, yeah, my will is infinitely strong. I will
No, but
never.
if there's mind control involved,
It's just hard to picture what it's like not having your mind be in control, you know?
I think
Yeah.
these books do a good job of it.
Yep, I love book 6 for that.
I think this is good because it's chapter 1, because like somebody who's reading this might not have read the books and might not know what's going on. So, you know.
yeah. Anyway, parrots, is it parrot time?
It's parrot time. So they're gonna like do this stupid thing that Cassie wants them to do, where they're gonna like, that Cassie is upset that this restaurant is using parrots for their for like marketing or something.
The
So
parrots are saying like, "Oh, come eat here, tasty food, yum yum."
Cassie's so upset about this that they have to almost blow their cover, to sneak into the kitchen and acquire parrots, and then like morph the parrots, and then say, the restaurant sucks, everybody," and this is what the Animorphs do. And then Jake makes the exact same excuse that he made in the last Marco book, which is that he's like, "Oh man, I can't stop you guys from doing this stupid thing, so I guess I just have to come along because you need somebody sensible." It's just I have no way of like preventing. I have no way of like asking you not to do this or reasoning with you. It's just gonna happen no matter what. So I might as well do it too.
I mean, it's lame that Applegate wrote the same thing twice, but I think it's believable
Yeah,
knowing people like Rachel are in the Animorphs.
they're
And
also
Jake doesn't. Jake doesn't want to be the leader, you know? Like, he was just assigned that, so he's like, "Well, I'm not really the leader, you know, you just guys just call me that, so whatever you guys wanna do, like, I can't tell, you know?"
Yeah, I gotta be cool. I gotta have fun with the other kids.
I like how part of the reason Cassie feels bad for the birds is because people are, just, verbally demeaning them. Because some guy's like, "Hey, say Howard Byrne," I say, "Hey,
Howard-
bird, say that Howard Stern rules," and then the bird just, squawk something about the restaurant, and he's like, "No, idiot bird, Howard Stern rules, man." And then Cassie's like, "Oh, that's so mean."
I like right after the kid says that, Rachel says moron. The kid turned to her. Yeah, this bird is a total moron.
He doesn't even like Howard Stern.
Do we have anything else to say about the parrots?
I have something on chapter 1.
Yeah, go ahead, Stu.
I was audibly confused by this part. Marco says, Jake made the deep in the throat grinding noise he makes sometimes.
Yeah, it's like when you grind deep in your throat.
I don't know what he's talking about, and I've never heard Jake do that.
Well, of course you haven't. You're
So
reading a
new
book,
Jake
you
lore.
dummy.
Jake can make.
So he can raise one eyebrow and make this deep. He can do all these things that I can't do. Is what Jake can do.
No,
can't-
just
But
try.
I'm
sure you can do it if you tried.
no. I've tried raising one eyebrow and I failed.
Oh.
Jake turning into animals, that's believable, but he can raise one eyebrow and make a throat noise? Like, man. He's
Okay, listen.
OP.
I am canonically better than Jake at basketball though, because I made it on the team in middle school. So,
Wow.
Stir, try to make a gurgling noise.
that's gross. What?
Oh. Yeah, you gotta make it grindy though. You gotta go. You're not trying.
I don't know, but gentle.
I'm trying to make noises, but it's not showing
Listen
up
to
on
what
my...
I'm doing.
That's wait. So did Jake make that noise?
Yeah.
That's all he did.
You went,
Yeah.
Yeah.
See?
That's it.
It's not hard.
That's a grunting noise.
A grunt is like, huh.
No,
What?
what?
No, a
No?
grunt is like,
Oh.
A grunt is like, like
What?
ah!
No.
Wait. A grunt is like,
Okay, where are you?
but
We're
like,
talking about parrots, guys.
It's
Yeah.
it's the end of chapter. So you're saying that back in the throat grinding noise is like a caveman grunt?
No, I think it's longer.
So it's like a long caveman grunt.
yeah.
Okay.
It's a
Well,
long.
now that's cleared up. Okay, parrots, I guess.
I just want to bring up some stuff they said when they're parrots. They're like, "Oh, our burgers are made with cat meat. Try our spaghetti with hair." And then Cassie's like, "We should be flying free in our natural habitat." And then Marco was like, "Yeah, Cassie, that was a bit much. Like, come on."
Marco's like, I thought it was. I thought it was a bit wordy for a parrot, but like they're like saying like they're they're saying like try our fried booger strips, as if parrots would like know that terminology.
Well, no, it's not the parrots thinking of it. Oh yeah, they say that parrots are really smart, but don't they just repeat sounds they hear? Like, I don't
No,
think
they're
actually
good mimickers. That takes intelligence. I can't even mimic.
Birds are smart.
The Marco
parrots-
literally says, "Hey, wait, parrots are smart." When he's morphing into one.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I don't think.
they don't. They're not. They don't have. They don't like have a language though.
Yeah, they made it out to be like they do.
What? No,
No.
they did.
That all they said was that they're smart.
Smarter than like all the other birds they've been.
Yes.
Okay. See, I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, let's go read the passage.
Whatever,
again.
just smarter than they were expecting. All it says is, "Hey, these birds are smart," and then Cassie says, "Very smart, too smart to be stuck out here and on a crappy perch and be pestered all day."
No, he says the parrot could think, it could reason, and I
Oh.
realized it could feel. It could feel emotions beyond simple instinct.
Oh, I
The
didn't say
parrot
that.
brain didn't overwhelm my human consciousness. It was just there. And as I began to realize how complex that brain was, I began to understand why Cassie was so mad.
When I read that, I was like, I assumed that Cavalgate was just saying that because she was like, "Oh, parrots can talk, therefore they're smart." That's just how I interpreted it.
I'm pretty sure.
I mean, how does she know how animal brains work? How does she know what it feels like to be in an animal brain anyway? Come
yeah,
on, guys.
Cavalgate.
I think she does some research.
I think she does
turned into
too.
a
I
few
feel like a
animals.
lot of this is BS, you know?
I mean, She always talks about thermals as if every kid knows what a thermal is, and I'd never heard the
No,
word
she
before.
doesn't, because
So
in every book she explains what a thermal is.
not until after using it a few times.
If I was a kid and I saw them talking about thermals, I'd be so confused for the next 5 chapters, and even after they explain
She
it, I'd be
explains
like,
what it is in every book.
I'd still be confused. I was confused about thermals for like the first 3 Animorphs books. Like every time it was mentioned.
Oh, maybe it was a good idea for her to put them in every book then.
Yeah.
yeah, you asked me, I think, did you just ask me or was it on the podcast? You said, are thermals a thing in real life?
I've never heard that word until Animorphs.
Google says that crows are the smartest birds, but parrots are smart.
They haven't been crows yet though, so they don't
Things
know.
Applegate made up: Andalites, Hork-Bajir, Urix, morphing, and thermals.
I mean, she treats them like they're a thing she made up.
No, she doesn't.
Yeah, she
She treats them
does.
like a bird would treat them.
She treats them like her own little character. She makes sure that it's in every book because it's special
No,
to her.
actually,
You
I think
know,
you
she
have a
made
point
it up.
because she does mansplain like Urix and everything in every book, and she kind of explains thermals in the same way.
Yeah.
She also made up meds. Anyway, let's talk. We're going through this video. So I'm probably gonna cut a lot of this out because so much of the stuff we're saying is unrelated.
Applegate made up a new word. It's called plagiarism.
All right. I was very happy that this book was in chapter 3. I was very happy that this book is bringing back both the Chi and Bizarre One, which I thought was neat because those two things are from the last 2 Marco books.
That kind of annoyed me because I was like, "What? The tree only in the Marco books now? That's weird."
I mean,
I don't think that's a precedent set by this book.
I mean, yeah, but it was a precedent of the last. I assume it's not gonna be that way going forward. But I was just like, did Capelgate just forget about the Chi? And then it was like, okay, let's new Marco book. Let's look at the past Marco book. Oh, Chi. Oh, frick, Chi. Oh, I forgot about them. Okay, put them in this book then.
I can see that happening.
they weren't very important. All they did was inform Marco about this.
Oh
thing.
yeah,
That's
I'm
true.
glad
And
that
another
happened.
thing that was
Though.
frustrated was she introduced the Lyrans, and they didn't really do anything in this book either.
Yeah, but it talks about the
What?
homeworld being invaded, and
I really hope she brings the Lyrans back because they seem like an interesting thing, but they weren't explored that much in this book.
I think she does.
I'm really glad that Eric King was back.
Oh,
in
okay,
this.
thanks, Stir.
I'm satisfied now. Thanks, Stir.
No, it's because you read the warning.
Oh.
No, they're not in the warning.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
wow.
Okay, thanks, Stir.
Spoilers.
Anyway, why did you say that then?
Huh?
Because he
I'm not
thinks that
gonna
they were
tell.
explored enough and he's done hearing about them.
Anyway, what was I saying?
You're like, wow, they have 3 tentacles, such depth.
Oh yeah, at the end of book 10, I was like, man, I can't wait for this Eric King guy to show up and give them information. That seems cool. And then I forgot about Eric King. I was like, oh, he's back, cool. So I'm glad she's finally like doing what he said he would do 5 books ago. And I like how little part of the plot, like how he wasn't an important part of the plot. He just showed up and gave them information like he said he would.
Yeah, that seems like something that Applegate might start to rely on if she gets a bit lazy. She's like, how did they find out about this? Let's just have Eric tell them.
Yeah, you're right. I hope that doesn't happen.
I hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah, well, maybe the next Megamorphs, they'll have Visser 3 tell his plan, and then Eric King will tell them what Visser 3's plan is, and then Visser 3 will tell someone else.
It's like Megamorphs, and we hear Visser 3's plan 5 different times.
Yeah, that'll be Megamorphs too.
Eric telling the Animorphs, and the Animorphs telling Axe, who wasn't there because he was in the woods, and they're afraid of him being in the barn. And then Axe tells Eric because he didn't realize that Eric didn't know.
You know what I liked about this book? Unlike the last book, they realized that maybe Axe shouldn't be on the parrot mission because they'd have to bring an Andalite back into the kitchen. So they just let him stay back and not participate.
It's
Well,
true.
they learned.
And also Tobias.
That's consistent. That means they learned.
No, they didn't learn though, because every time you think they learn, they'd go and have everyone turn into stupid cockroaches again. So no, they're not consistent. They
All go
didn't
on
learn.
the adventure this time. Like they did all turn into hammerheads this time.
That makes enough sense.
Oh yeah, that annoyed me.
In chapter 5, so it's a little bit ahead, Tobias says, I have to remain in my own body to acquire a morph. Kind of obvious if I tell Hawk suddenly landing on a dolphin, blah, blah, blah. And then I think Marco says, come as you are. You've always been our sacred weapon, just the way you are. And then Tobias says, no, you're right. I should do the dolphin thing. I'm like, no, stop. Like, Tobias not being able to morph really forced them to have one person play lookout. But now that they don't have to do that anymore, they just decided it's a bad idea.
He wouldn't be able to make it out that far as a hawk.
Whoever said Tobias, come as you are, you've always been our secret weapon, I was like, oh, that's cute.
I thought it was a cute line.
Well, he wouldn't be able to help. He wouldn't be able to. Yeah, he wouldn't have been able to make it out that far. So it's a moot point.
It still annoyed me. Yeah.
It annoyed me too. Speaking of cute lines, I don't keep any secrets from Jake. I think it's the basis of a good marriage. Openness, honesty.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I love that line. I drew 6 hearts around it.
6.
My first note is about how. I mean, my next note is when Tobias is the first of a lot of acquiring antics in this book, where Tobias has to acquire the dolphin as a hawk.
Wait, you skipped chapter 4?
Hey, we're gonna talk about Marco angsting while they're talking to Eric.
Yeah, you skipped a lot of important stuff there.
I didn't care about it.
I did.
Okay.
So like while they're talking to Eric, Marco's gets kind of upset, and Jake's like, "You okay?" And then Marco's like, "Yeah, I'm okay. Stop." You guys think I don't know what Mister One is like? I said hotly. And then Eric asked Jake if Marco's all right, and Marco just turns around and storms right out of there. He's like, "Nope, I'm done with these guys." I know what he meant. I snapped. I meant if it came to crunch time, would I destroy my own mother to protect the mission? That's what he meant. So, just Marco is just very annoyed.
In this book, like okay, like I feel like in other books I would have been like, oh, they just say the word destroy because they're afraid to say the word kill in a kid's book, but they say the word kill a lot in this book. I think. I feel like it. I don't know. To me, that seems like in this instance he said destroy because it was like he didn't want to say kill his mother. It was easier for him to say.
Well, I saw it more as destroy because his mother's body is really what's the important thing here.
Ew.
Okay, like it's Visser 1 is basically the brain, but Marco doesn't want to destroy any part of his mom's body because it's his mom.
Yeah, I think the word kill is a very like human word. When you say I want to destroy that thing, like it's like destroy that alien.
I think of Marco's mom basically as like a meat mech right now. I guess obviously killing her body would kill her brain too, but like I don't know, that's just how I think of it.
Marco can have his mom back, and if he kills her, that chance is gone. So
yeah, I have some complaints about that later.
But anyway, yeah, that makes sense that Marco wouldn't want to say kill if he's talking about his mom.
Marco says he hasn't told the others about his mom, that Visor 3. I hadn't wanted the others to know the truth, that my mother had been made into a controller, that the yolk inside her head was the original command of the Earth invasion. I didn't want their pity, I still don't. I'm a joker, a comedian, that's how I deal with life. I've always been believed to some extent that if you decide for yourself what your life will be, never mind, I can't say that sentence.
I've always believed that to some extent you get to decide for yourself what your life will be like. You can either look at the world and say, oh, isn't it all so tragic, so grim, so awful? Or you can look at the world and decide that it's mostly funny. If you step back far enough from the details, everything is funny. You say war is tragic, I say, isn't it crazy that people will fight over nothing? People will fight wars to control crappy little patches of empty desert, for crying out loud. It's like fighting over an empty soda can. It's not so much tragic as it is ridiculous. Asinine, stupid.
You say, isn't it terrible about global warming? And I say, no, it's funny. We're going to bring on global warming because we ran too many leaky air conditioners. We used too much spray deodorant, so now we'll be doomed to sweat forever. That's not sad, that's irony. Note to Alanis, that is ironic. Because I was like, wow, Capelgate really like trying to be relevant with Alanis Morissette references here.
I like it because ironic is a song that it doesn't have any irony in it.
It's like rain on your wedding day.
I like that Marco's smart enough to know that song is dumb, and he decides to say something about how dumb that song is.
No, the point of the song is that it's ironic that there's no irony in it.
It's the epic irony.
Oh, it's so meta.
It's so meta.
That's what all the comments on the YouTube video for the song say.
All right.
That's nice. See, I saw what my mom's death did to my dad, and you know what? There wasn't anything funny about it. And I know that for a year I cried myself to sleep most nights looking at her picture. I still feel like someone blew a hole in me, a hole that will never heal, a hole that I don't want to heal, because I don't want to stop hurting for my mom. I don't want to get over it.
Someone blew a hole in him.
Yo, so at the very end of this chapter, Marco's talking about how it's sad that his like mom, whatever, and Marco says if this was happening to someone else, it would be hysterical. And I'm like, what? No, I'm reading this. I'm not Marco, and I don't think it's hysterical. I think it's really sad.
No, he's saying that somebody else could make a joke out of it. Clearly, it's not funny if Marco's like, this isn't funny.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, because that's what Marco was talking about, how you make tragedy funny. Okay. Let us know about chapter 4. Oh, wait, no. Okay, yeah, Max notes about... Wait, is chapter 5 the end of Marco Engstring?
Chapter 5 is, I just wrote meeting time. They have their obligatory meeting.
Oh, and then Marco talks about the irony gods.
Yeah.
The irony gods wait to find out whatever it is you don't want, and that's what they do to you.
Yeah, so he doesn't want the... He knows that he has to go see his... They have to go to where his mom is, and he's like, oh, now everyone's going to find out about that my mom's visit won. I don't want that because I don't want pity from others.
What I really like about this line is that in my own life, it doesn't really seem to be true.
What
Like,
doesn't?
it doesn't feel like there's a higher being out there who's just wanting to screw me over. Like every time I'm happy, it doesn't feel like somebody's like, I wonder how I could make them unhappy. And it's like Marco's life isn't as good as mine. Like it must suck to be Marco, I guess.
I guess this book made you grateful. All these books
Yeah.
make me grateful.
I like thinking about I like reading stories about people who have suffered more than I have.
These books make me grateful that I'm not... This isn't real.
I'm gonna go to the bathroom, but I don't have anything to say for the next like 3 chapters, so just go ahead and keep talking.
I don't have anything to say about chapter 5.
At this part, while reading, I was annoyed, and I just wrote, okay, so this book's going to end with everyone finding out that Vizu One is Marco's mom, and he's going to learn that it's okay for others to feel sorry for him. Got it.
Yeah, I'm usually very annoyed when I can predict the ending of a book. I wasn't really thinking about how this...
I don't know why, but for some reason, this was the first
It's
time where
usually only annoying for me when it's a plot that I've seen a lot before. Because then I'll know all of the beats, everything that'll happen. But I find with Animorphs, the plots really don't follow a set thing. Like they talk about hero's journey.
Well, what about the time they totally took that totally stereotypical, the character farts in the villain's face episode, and then the villain has to figure out how to get rid of the stinky fart smell.
Well, that's an exception.
Yeah.
There are some poorly written Animorphs books, but like even when I do know the ending, if it's something that I think that I don't quite know what the middle is going to be, it's still going to interest me.
I think the thing that annoyed me about it is that whenever that Marco hasn't gone into this much detail about about like any of these emotions before, and I was annoyed that it seems like I'm noticing a pattern with an Animorphs is whenever they delve into an issue that one of the characters is having, it's immediately solved at the end of the book that it's basically brought up in. Like, I was annoyed with book 8 how Axe was like, "Oh, I'm worried that the Animorphs don't trust me," and I was like, "Oh, that's cool. That's a cool part of his character. I hope that like continues through the next few episodes where like Axe keeps lying to the Animorphs, and it's like this ongoing issue." And I was annoyed at that point about how at the end of that book it was immediately solved. So
did you think that that's what was going to happen at the end of this book when you were...
No, because I didn't, because I was like, okay, now I know the pattern. It's going to be immediately solved. I mean, it makes sense because these are kids' books and they need to have a satisfying ending in every book. But I don't think I'm as bothered by it anymore. But
I really don't think the ending of this book is satisfying, Mustard.
It's not, and I'll get to that later. That's what I read out earlier. That's the note I wrote down in chapter 5.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like you thought that the book was going to be like that, and then you got yourself down and was like, and then the ending wasn't like that, and you're like, this book isn't bad. It's okay.
I was annoyed by some stuff, but yeah, I was just like, one thing I really liked was in one of the chapters in one of the books, it mentioned that one of the characters feels bad for lying to the parents all the time, and that's just like an ongoing thing, and I thought that was cool.
Yeah, Cassie.
But yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, it's cool because that kind of thing really can't be resolved until the ending.
Yeah,
because they can never tell their parents about what's going on.
Yeah. But at the time reading this, I was really annoyed how predictable it seemed, and to a certain extent, it still ended up that way. But it was this book. Part of the reason I wanted to give this book a thumbs down is because a lot of the antic scenes I thought were annoying, and the ending was just like upsetting and unsatisfying.
Oh my gosh!
I enjoyed the
I can't
antic
believe you.
scenes.
What? What do you mean? It was upsetting.
You
I'm
were
not saying it was
you were
bad.
getting mad
Hey,
because
wait, I enjoyed the
so
antic
you
scene. Can we
said
talk
you
about
didn't want it to be satisfying, and then it wasn't satisfying, and you were mad because it made you sad.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying it was badly written. I think a lot of this book does a lot of good stuff, but I'm just saying me personally, when a book makes me upset, I wanna give it a thumbs down, you know?
And
And
that's
I
perfectly valid.
That's garbage.
Okay.
I really like
You know
unsatisfying
what?
endings. All my
That's
favorite
that's
things have
just how you feel
unsatisfying
about books.
endings.
I can't argue with that.
I mean,
That's just how you
listen,
feel.
there are
No, I
plenty.
didn't say it was bad. I just said it made me feel
No,
upset, that's
I
all.
understand. I get it. If you're sad, you feel sad, and you want to thumbs down things.
That's totally fine.
I don't feel that.
That wasn't the only
that's
reason, though.
totally, I think that's totally valid. Like, I there are plenty of movies where I'm like, that movie was good, I guess, but it's not my cup of tea. That's just how it is. And same thing with books.
I'm kind of a masochist when I read books. Not gonna lie, I like it when it's gritty and it like twists the knife in your heart and makes you think, and you're like, oh my gosh.
See, I love the Tobias book because the ending
Reading
was so
Othello
happy.
put me in like a depressive state for like 3 days. That's why I liked it. It's
What
just 'cause
did?
I'm so depressed. Othello.
Yeah.
I was really upset. And I was like really upset at the end of 1984, and I was like, yeah, that book was amazing, just because it made me upset.
Is the book I don't remember the Book Thief's ending well enough to know if it had an upsetting ending. I love the Book Thief.
The most recent things that upset me are the movie Life is Beautiful, which is that's like it's upsetting, but it's still a happy ending, in a way, I guess.
Whatever.
That's my favorite movie of all time.
Iron Antics.
Hmm?
I enjoyed these.
I liked how they brought in Tobias is afraid of water. I liked Tobias having flaws. I like seeing Tobias afraid, whereas everybody's like, oh, Tobias is he's got a strong, angry looking hawk face.
I have
Like
a
this
question.
really made Tobias seem more human to me.
I have a theory about why Tobias is afraid of water, and I'm curious if anyone else had the same thought.
Because
I was gonna say
hawks don't really go in the water.
No. What are you saying, Stu?
I was saying to me that Tobias's antics made him feel less like a human and more like a cartoon character.
We're not at that part yet. I'm just talking about how Tobias is afraid of water.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
as soon as
that
I read
too.
as soon as I read that Tobias is afraid of water, I'm like, oh, it's because he had his head flushed in toilets when he was a human all the time.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, like that. It seems intentional to me, honestly.
It occurred to me.
I was surprised it wasn't mentioned.
I like that you're so fixated on Tobias has his head pushed in toilets.
Well, it's
It's like
brought
the
up like 4
smallest
times in
detail
this
of the first
series.
book, and you're just like, yup, that's his defining feature.
No, that's every time they mention him as a human and getting bullied, that's the only example they use.
Yeah, they've brought up Tobias like one of the only things we know about Tobias as a
No,
human.
they bring up Tobias used to get bullied in all of the Tobias books, but they don't specifically bring up the toilet thing.
When they say an example, it's the toilet one.
Yeah. If I search toilet in the Animorphs books, I think it will come up in 4 different books. I'm not sure though. It's definitely been mentioned at least 2 different books. But yeah, that's my theory. That's why Tobias is afraid of water. I'm putting it on the theories channel.
I like this particular acquiring antic where they're trying to get the dolphin because I mean, I guess it's cartoony, but it seems, I mean, it's something that could happen. It's not like it wasn't like it wasn't like unrealistically cartoony. It was like everyone was in character. I liked it. They're all seagulls except for Tobias, who's a hawk. And
Oh wait, one more thing I want to say about Tobias being scared is it plays into Marco's arc because Marco likes it when Tobias is scared. He's like, see, this guy has problems too, so it makes me feel better about myself.
That was something that upsets me because I was like, "What, Marco? Why are you like making Tobias feel bad? No, this isn't the Marco I like."
He's not making Tobias feel bad. Is
No,
he?
he kept like making fun of it. Like Marco was just like making jokes about it and like
That's just
making.
how Marco is.
It seemed to upset Tobias more in this part than it usually did, but maybe that's just because Marco's narration made it clear that he was intentionally saying it to make Tobias feel bad and not just as a joke. Because he was like, "Yeah, Tobias feeling bad makes me feel better about my mom." I don't know.
Knowing that Marco finds joy in making other people feel bad doesn't make me like him less. Because I know when I'm upset, I like making other people feel bad. And I know that you don't feel that way, Mustard. So
I know you feel that way. So that's just a personal thing with me. Where I'm like, oh, that's not. No, Marco, why?
Marco's narration in this book made me understand why, though.
Yeah, I mean, it says okay, yeah, it says why and explains why, and I think it's a very valid reason. You know, I don't have complaints about it. Just while reading it, I was like, oh no. A lot of this, a lot of my problem with this book was literally just like my gut reaction was negative for some reason. You know, like I don't think I have any like strong valid complaints about this book. Just
Okay,
how it
that
made
makes
me
me feel better.
feel.
So they're all seagulls except for Tobias, and then Tobias, and then it's like they kind of write it as like this awesome moment where like the dolphin arced through the air, and then Seer Tobias screamed in his best red tail way, and he dived towards the dolphin, and then Cassie goes, is this stupid?
I have a question. Why did they do this during the day when the park was open?
Yeah.
Yes.
Why? Why couldn't they wait until there weren't people there?
Hey, I didn't think of that, so I'm
I
giving
didn't
them a
think of
pass for
that.
not thinking of it.
Okay. My first time reading this book, I was like, yeah, Tobias said he's afraid about it. I just kind
No,
of
no, it's because seagulls can't see well at night.
they can morph. They
Yeah.
have a million other birds.
Huh?
They have a million other birds they could be. They're only
Yeah, owls
seagulls,
don't
so
fly together
because
though.
it's
That
the
would be
daytime.
suspicious.
Yeah,
Owls are
that
solitary.
would be suspicious to all of the nobody
Also,
at
like
the
only
park.
2 people have owl morphs, so
No, they all have Animorphs.
No, they don't.
They don't all need to be there
Like,
anyway.
go look in the morph thing.
I just thought it was like as soon as Tobias got on the dolphin, I was like, whoa, what the heck is Tobias? Why is Tobias doing that? What?
Look,
I
the
forgot
thing is,
about that.
Tobias can't see in the dark, so yeah.
Yes, all of them have owls.
I thought it was.
I've like never seen anybody use it except for Cassie though.
They all have them.
Guess
They've all
that's why I
used it at
forgot.
some. They've all used it at some. Though there was one in book 9. They all turned owls at the same time.
I just thought it was really stupid that they decided to go to the park when it's open, when there's a million people watching, have Tobias latch onto this dolphin as a bird. It was really silly and bothered me.
Well, he just needed to touch it. He didn't like. They didn't plan on not. They didn't think he wouldn't be able to let go.
I guess you're right. Yeah.
Acquire it, get back out. You know, whatever.
I like everyone's in character and it's great. Like afterwards, Cassie's like, the dolphin looked okay, very superficial cuts. The vets will put more salve on him and give him a preventative antibiotic. I suppose, just to be careful. Well, as long as the dolphin is okay, Tobias said, because I really, really hope the dolphin is okay.
I like Tobias in this book.
And he's like, I nearly drowned. Now I'm going to become the thing that nearly drowned me. I will be sarcastic until further notice.
There's a part. There's some narration that I really liked. Marco's narration in this, when Tobias is like on the dolphin, and he's like almost drowning. Marco's narration just says, "We all yelled helpful advice." And everyone's like, "Hold your breath, let go, quiet him." He's
Do
like, "Oh,
you really? Do you
thanks."
think? Hold my breath. Tobias managed to respond.
Why didn't I think of that? I just love the narration. We all yelled helpful advice when they're saying like obvious things that aren't helpful. But yeah, it was a nice subtle narration joke that I liked.
I was gonna say about the seagulls. I like when Tobias is being elitist. He's like, I cannot believe I'm flying with seagulls. Tobias sneered. I could get kicked out of the hawk fraternity for hanging out with lowlifes.
Yeah.
Doesn't he also say that he hates crows the most?
Does he?
And above all,
Or was
crows.
it pigeon? Crows?
But crows do attack hawks.
Oh, that reminds me. There's another cute moment between Jake and Marco when they're morphed as seagulls.
Oh yeah, Jake and Marco go on a freaking roller coaster.
Yeah, and then Marco's like, "Yeah, that was cool." And then Marco says, "We're still our old selves, aren't we? I mean, we haven't changed, not really, no matter what, right?" And Jake just says, "Sure, Marco." Marco's like, "No, I mean it. We're still just us. Nothing can really change what we are, right?" I realized I had gone very serious. I don't know why, but I wanted Jake to agree with me. It was very important to me. And then Jake's like, "Look, I'm not a philosopher, okay?" And then Marco's like, "Yeah, well, no matter what, no matter how many morphs, no matter how many battles, no matter what, I'll still be me. Everyone better accept that." And then Jake laughs and says, "Marco, if it makes you feel any better, you'll always just be a punk to me."
I like that part.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. I love that part.
Yeah.
I noticed there's a lot of like little things in this Marco book that like aren't necessarily related to like this is kind of related to Marco's arc, but it's kind of just like a side thing. Just this whole Marco and Jake's relationship details that are in there.
Yeah,
and
Mustard,
that's like
this
definitely
isn't-
something that I haven't like seen in a Cassie book.
Here's an example of a thing that isn't wrapped up, like, right away. It's not like at the end of this book, Marco's like, and then I learned that I will always be my old self, no matter what.
The thing that
Like,
annoyed
this
me
is
is
what
that
Marco struggles with, but it's
Like,
not really
yeah,
resolved in this book.
The main thing in these books is usually resolved because it's
yeah,
kind of how books work. But like there are plenty of side things that maybe aren't so obvious.
I didn't say there wasn't any of those.
Yeah, I know.
That's just
I'm just
one
saying, like,
of the reasons why I like. Yeah.
There are things that come up and aren't resolved immediately.
When I was going through my notes and after I listened to the book 10 unrecorded podcast episode, I was like, I think that talking about this book with everyone else will make me like it a lot more. And I think that's happening so far.
I can't share that thought.
Oh, I have a question. Have they ridden on roller coasters as birds before?
I don't know.
They've only mentioned it.
When I was reading this, I'm like, why haven't they done this before? It seems like something they would have done in like the first book.
The reason I brought it up is because in episode 8 of the podcast, I mentioned that it's weird how Axe is so like not human in his human morph. And then Be Natural's like, oh well, I mean, they're not very bird like in the bird morphs. Like they're freaking riding roller coasters and stuff, but like I don't think birds care because they're birds, you know?
Mhm.
So when I heard this, I was like, oh, this is the part where they ride roller coasters as birds. Be Natural mentioned that.
Yeah, I think I was referring to this.
Man, I miss when the books had stupid fun stuff like this in there.
What? This book
Yeah,
had
they
them
do right now. What do you mean?
No,
telling
it made
everyone
me
there's boogers in the
happy.
food.
Okay, that wasn't fun. That was just dumb.
Wait, what?
I thought it was dumb, but I thought the parrot thing was very like fitting. At the time, when I first started the book, I was like, "Oh, this parrot thing's very fitting for a Marco book because it's really stupid."
Guys,
And
they don't have enough fun in morphs. All they do with morphs is spy and battle.
Wait, really?
No, they save animals.
that's what they should be doing, spy and battle. That's why they were given the power, not to have fun.
Yeah, I think I like
but
the plot
they're
a lot
kids.
more
They
than
shouldn't care so much about responsibility. They should
They're
be like,
Animorphs. They have to save the world. That's the point of these books.
yeah, but I just wish it was fun. These books are too serious.
Oh.
They're way more serious than I was expecting, and every time like a fun stupid part like this comes up, I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot that Animorphs can be fun and like do stuff like riding on a roller coaster.
Before I read the series, I had no idea Animorphs was about them saving the world from aliens. I thought it was just, oh, I can morph into a squid. Look at me.
Oops, I'm morphing into a squid during my book report. Oh no.
Oh no, it's the middle of the school Christmas play and I'm evolving.
What? Marco is evolving. Oh.
Hey guys, do you think that when Rachel's morphing into a shark, she loses a bunch of her teeth?
I think.
Anyway, let's keep talking about the book.
Okay. When Tobias is nervous about dolphining, Tobias like yells, and then Marco says, "I winked at Cassie," and then he says, "Tense, very tense. Too many high caffeine mice." Which I don't really like how Marco is constantly ripping on Tobias for eating mice. Like, let him eat mice, man.
I don't mind it.
Yeah, but I thought it was funny that he
I did mind. I used to mind it, but then Tobias in his book said actually I like it. So now every time Marco makes a mice eating joke, I think of that and I like it.
I like that the joke isn't just that he eats mice; it's that the mice have high caffeine and that makes him hyper. Like that's an actual joke.
Yeah, that's kind of funny. Yeah.
It's not just saying, "Haha, bird boy, you eat rodents, loser."
I also like how a lot of these books, a lot of the series kind of implies that Marco watches a lot of TV, even though he doesn't seem to talk about TV that much. But Marco makes constant references to like products that are like as seen on TV.
Like Crazy Glue.
Yeah.
Oh, is he the one who named them salad shooters?
Yeah.
Huh.
No, everybody calls them salad shooters.
I think Marco said it first, though.
Someone came up with the name. I'll check quick.
So Marco is really savvy with like products that have been on memorable commercials. I think that's cool writing. And then he says, "Good grief, I'm a mermaid," but he's underwater, so all that anyone else heard was bloop bleep bloim blub blom blay.
Yes, Marco was the first one to call them salad shooters.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who knows when a jelly-eyed centipede or a walking salad shooter from hell is standing at attention?
They say hell in this book?
In the first one, in the
Whoa.
invasion.
Oh gosh, that's right. They do say hell in the first
They
book.
say hell like 3 times, I think. They just like call
I
the.
like the first book a
They
lot.
call the Yerk pool hell.
Every time they mention the Yerk pool, they're like, "Oh, that's hell."
Very few of the books have surpassed the first one in my mind.
That's strange.
I didn't.
Oh, that reminds me of something. I think in the first 2 books, Visitor 3 actually seemed kinda scary and threatening, and I don't think he turns into giant monsters and stuff, and he hasn't really been scary since then. He's just been a big weenie who kills his own men.
Yeah, in this book he
No,
was just
you're
very
right.
silly.
He was.
He was very silly in this book.
Oh, I was intimidated by him
Yeah,
in this
like, even
book.
though I didn't really like the endings of books 1 and 2, how Visitor 3 turned into a giant monster and scared them away, it at least made Visitor 3 seem intimidating, and it's like, "Oh, we gotta kill Visitor 3." Like, that's a big priority, but
Yeah, I like that Visitor more than the one who freaking thought grape juice helped
yeah.
help skunk smell. Is just acted like a dumbass the whole Cassie's book.
He's always twirling his big mustache.
Like, in book 8, we were like, "Oh, man, like, why didn't he just kill Visitor 3? He's such a big threat." But now I'm like, "Who cares if Visitor 3 is alive? He doesn't do anything." Just a big
He
weenie.
doesn't. Yeah.
So, yeah, I miss the scary Visitor 3. I want him back.
Well, you know what? Everyone has their off days, okay? You can't expect perfection every day.
I mean, I honestly do love stupid Visitor 3, but, you know, I'd like the scary Visitor 3 back.
All right.
Silence. I'm trying to hear what the Endlight Bandits has to say about Stronger Spray.
For the record, I'm referring to the same person when I say that, just for anyone listening who's confused, because Visitor 3 is a title, but I'm referring to the same person. He just seemed to get really dumb for some reason.
Yeah.
What happens in chapters 10 through 13? I have no notes.
They turn into dolphins, and then they swim to the York place, and then they get attacked by hammerheads.
And then
Which
I'm
are-
kind of annoyed by Tobias because he wants to be playful and he's not serious anymore.
Well, that's cute. He's a dolphin.
It makes him less like himself and more just like everybody else.
Well, because
Well, that's
he's
Dolphin Tobias, though.
yeah, that's not. It's just he's that's the instinct.
Well, Tobias was like the savior last time they turned into dolphins.
Well, that's what he wasn't a dolphin.
It's not because Tobias is like a god who's just above everything else. It's because he's a hawk at the time.
Well, I guess I'm kind of upset that he plays a different role this time, whereas I like the role he played last time.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that it doesn't make sense.
Then they get attacked by the hammerheads, and they're like, "That's weird," because they're all working together, which is not a thing that hammerhead sharks do. They almost die, but of course they make it back, and they see Visor 1 in a submarine with a Lyran, and then they go home.
Yeah, there's really nothing outstanding and like nothing really big happened.
I thought it was neat that like Marco they made a callback to how Marco almost got cut in half as a dolphin earlier, and he was like, "Oh my god, I'm gonna die in the exact same way that I almost died that one time in book 4." But also, it's like, Marco, freaking get over yourself. Everyone's been cut in half at this point.
Jeez, I like that. One thing I didn't like that happened in chapter 10 was, oh well, I guess I kind of liked it. Anyway, I have this note. 10 of them against 5 dolphins and a tiger shark. Rachel said, "We can handle it." And I was like, effing idiot. And then everybody, but then what's good about it is like, everybody else is like, "Shut up, Rachel. We're not attacking them."
That's, Rachel's totally the person who's like Rachel's totally the part of me that like sits in class and is like, sits in class when they're bored, like, if a school shooter came in here, I totally just like take them down with my body. I just totally punch them out.
I would just run up and grab the gun away.
Yeah, exactly. Like
What's so hard about that?
Rachel's totally like that. She's just like, guys, we got this.
That's definitely not something I see in myself, which makes her annoying to me.
I like that she at least has a consistent character.
I'm like that. I'm just like, be confident.
Speaking of which, Stir, could you go into more depth about how you think Marco's character isn't consistent in this book?
In this book, he just doesn't seem like my Marco. That's all.
He's not my Marco.
And like
that's the point of the book, Stir.
I feel the same way.
No, it's the same thing with the Rachel book. Like I could tell Be Natural all day that Rachel seemed consistent in the Alligator book, but she knows Rachel, and to her, Rachel isn't that the same thing. But to me, it is. Just I'm like, yeah, it's the same Rachel. But I see stuff in Marco here that just doesn't settle well with me. Yeah? That I haven't seen in other books.
I guess my explanation for that would be that we don't normally see inside Marco's brain, and when we do,
we have in the previous 2 Marco books. We've seen Marco's brain in every book he's written.
Yeah, but he's written like 2 books.
Yeah, Rachel's written 2 books when the Alligator book happened. Crocodile.
Yeah, but see, Rachel just does dumb stuff in that book. It's not related to whether she's the narrator or not.
And yeah, it is.
So are you saying so Marco acts like leaving his jokes out of the equation? Do you think he acts smarter or dumber in this book than in other books?
No, he just acts in a way that doesn't seem like what I would think he would do, even consistent with like the angsty stuff he said before. And like when he does angsty stuff, half it's like semi-sadism.
Reading this book, I think part of the thing I didn't like was like Marco being sad about his mom was like really pushed in your face in this one, and it seemed so sudden to me. I was like, this isn't Marco. Marco's past two books was all not like
This is
that at
one isn't
all.
in every book, so Marco doesn't have to think about it that much.
Yeah, but then like I like listened to like I'm gonna keep bringing this up because it's significant to my thoughts on this book. I listened to
Okay.
the book 10 recording and I was like, I guess Marco being sad about his mom was like pretty significant in the past books. It just wasn't what I envisioned Marco as, so I just kind of pushed it to the side and didn't think about it. So when it was so in your face in this book, it seemed really out of the blue, and it's like, "What? That's not Marco." Just because it wasn't like how the vision I had of him from
What you're
past books.
saying is the vision of you had of him has been molded by the books that don't have Marco as a narrator, whereas we see a different side to Marco as a narrator that makes him seem not like he's in the other books, and that makes you.
No. Books 5 and 10 do have what I know Marco as. It just also has some of the other stuff.
So you think this book focused too much on Marco Langston?
It didn't focus too much. It just focused more than I expected, than I was ready for. That's all.
My feelings was that so much of this book, like like I said, the first 3 quarters exactly, the angst seemed forced, the joke seemed forced, and the plot seemed forced, and just really just didn't. It grinded my nerves a lot.
None of it seemed forced to me.
Yeah, I know.
Did it seem forced to you, Natural?
Not really.
I felt the same way about the alien and about book 3, and you'll love that. So I just have
I honestly, I
one
don't think Stu
opinion.
I have any like valid objectionable complaints about this book. It
I
just
do. It's
didn't.
boring. I say it's boring.
That's
Well,
true, but
I can't really argue with you about whether you feel that a book is boring or whether you feel that a character isn't acting a character. All I can say is
Well,
that
I'm not here to talk about like how well the books are written. I noticed that like I don't have an innate ability to like find things that are wrong with the book like I do with other things I look at. Like I don't have I rarely have ideas of how a book can be improved. Book 16 was an exception where I thought of several ways it could be improved.
huh.
book 16.
Yeah, we haven't gotten to that one yet.
Stu accidentally read book 16 before this recording.
I actually, when you said, okay, read book 15, I said, got it, 16.
But yeah, I think just like I think while reading this book, other than the fact that I think a lot of the antics were boring, like I think all my complaints, I don't have like complaints that I can argue. It's just like it didn't sit well with me. I'm not completely sure why.
So have you been thinking about like ways you can make this book better, Stir?
Oh, no, I really, you just have to get rid of it, is my thought.
It's just all bad.
Well, it's just, it's a mess until Margot's mom shows up. It's just how I read this book.
I noticed Stu isn't usually doesn't say, "Oh yeah, it would be better if the book did this," when all of us do that a lot.
Yeah.
So what are you trying to say? That you just don't think this book should exist?
I just think it's a mess, and to fix it, you'd have to like change so many different things.
What's a mess?
The mess, it's really boring. The plot's kind of all over the place. The anxious is all over the place and feels forced. The antics make no sense, are dumb, and feel forced, and are not funny. That's too many things to just say, I want this fixed.
I mean, Be Natural just said, like, yeah, chapters 10 to 13, like nothing really significant happens. It just all go blah, and then that happens. Like,
It's a fine,
Does something
straightforward
significant
plot.
have to happen in every chapter in every book?
Absolutely not.
Listen.
Like it has boring parts, but that's not enough to drag it
just
down
because
for
I didn't
me.
have anything to say about it doesn't mean it's bad. It was fine. It was a totally fine, like, just the Animorphs go to a place and they find the thing that was necessary for the book to happen, and it didn't take up much time. I just didn't have any specific things to say about it, but it was a fine part of the book. I have no.
here's the thing with how with me liking books. I love book 12. Book 12 was silly and stupid, and so much garbage stuff happened that it was fun. Something significant happened in like every chapter. It may have not been a good book, but I give it a thumbs up because I enjoyed reading it.
What significant things were established in book 12?
nothing was established, but, like, Rachel suddenly has bare feet, and she's like, "Oh, like my new boots? Like, that's noteworthy.
Yeah, this book, like, I forgot so many of the chapters that happened.
Well, I don't think noteworthy equals good, and I don't think noteworthy equals enjoyable.
Okay, well, how about this? I read the book and I felt nothing. I didn't feel sad when it was sad. I didn't feel happy when it was happy. I didn't feel like bo the book didn't make me feel what it was going for, and to me, that's a failed book.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Anyway, do we have any?
Yeah, I'm not happy about it. It makes sense though.
Can we move on?
That's what I was trying to say, like, I don't think we can argue about this book, it just didn't make me feel like it just wasn't enjoyable, like, there's nothing I can try to apply logic and say, "This is why it wasn't," but in reality, I don't know, it just wasn't to me.
That makes a lot of sense, and I mean, you're gonna feel that way about a lot of the books, I think, and so will I. I mean, I feel like with the sheer number of Animorphs books that there are, that there's gonna be some books that are just like, well, that happened. So I mean, I do feel about that about this book somewhat. Like this book is a good book, but it's not. It's like I don't. It's not. I'm not gonna. It's not. It's not one of the most memorable ones at all or anything. But it's just fine. It's a good book.
To me, this book had some very good lines, but I think, like, almost none of the scenes to me were good, like, the parrot thing was kind of funny, I guess, I didn't really care about I thought them acquiring animals was dumb, I thought them being sharks was boring and dumb a lot of the time.
Yeah, the
This
thing is, Applegate has set up such this high standard of, like, having such these intricate animal morphs and these very, very tense, like, unpredictable action scenes, and this book just didn't have any of that, and Applegate has done so much stuff that just absolutely blew me away, and it hasn't until the very
You're
end,
saying
and I love the
your
ending.
standards are too high at this point?
Yeah, that's part of it, and part of it is I've read 14 Animorphs books in a row before this. I think
I will say
I
I felt pretty apathetic while I was reading this book, but remembering it and going over my notes now, like I feel like I was just not in a place where I felt like reading an Animorphs book when I had to force myself to read this book. But like now that I'm looking over my notes again, I'm like, yeah, that was actually really good.
When I was looking over my notes before we started recording, I was like, "This book better than I remember?" Like,
So maybe part of it is that maybe I just didn't enjoy it as much as I thought. Who knows?
Badger, I will say that I do think that that is a big, big, big part of it, is that I've already read 15 Animorphs books, and at this point, I felt like I'm at the point where it's okay, yeah, Animorphs, you know.
So like editors know, despite our like upload schedule, this was like, recorded when we were recording about on average more than one episode per week. So yeah.
So I think this is the point where I'm starting to get sick of it, but I still do like a lot of the books. But I think I'm at a point where it takes a lot to impress me just because I'm tiring of reading Animorphs all the time.
I mean, the thing is, book
With that
13
said, I don't intend on stopping anytime soon.
Yeah. Book 13 was amazing, I think, and book 14 was really stupid, but I liked it because it was silly. So, like, I don't think Applegate is slowing down yet in this
Well, yeah,
book.
what was the one I gave a star recently?
I think it was
Because
13.
I wouldn't say it's my favorite, because I still like 1 and 2 better, but I still started because that's like, yeah, this is yeah, 13 was definitely like, okay, yeah, this is great Animorphs.
And that was only 2 books ago,
Yeah.
so
Can I say something very unrelated?
yeah, let's start talking about the book more. We've been
Well,
talking
I was
about
gonna talk about something that's not even about the book.
I mean, yeah, sure.
Okay, so I finished the Animorphs video game. Do you wanna know what Tobias' role in that?
He tells you
He's an NPC. He just tells you what to do.
No, well, he's more than NPCs. He is the character who's like, you try to morph, and Tobias says, "Oh, don't morph now." And like, when you get a key, Tobias is like, "Oh, go get that key and unlock it." So he's basically like the guy that watches over you all the time, even when you're playing as Axe in the secret level. He's like Professor Oak in Pokemon, how he's just your guide the entire time. With all five of the characters, well, yeah, all five of the characters you play as. All four of the characters, five, all five of the characters you play as.
This is the Animorphs Game Boy game.
Okay, I've played like 15 minutes of this game.
It's really boring. It's pretty kind of sucks like a lot. It's really sucks.
Is it on your list of games that aren't worth playing?
That aren't worth playing, I guess. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't recommend it to anyone. I'd say it's one of the worst games I've played, but I had fun with it. I liked it.
Oh,
I will rarely say a game is bad. Even
classic.
if,
Sure, it was bad, but I had fun with it. I liked it.
did I say it was bad? Yeah, I'd say it's a bad game. Yeah, overall.
Definitely said it was bad.
Yeah,
So
it's
I
bad.
was listening to the soundtrack of that game, and it's really weird because that one song that you sent us, I was like, "This is wild." It like speeds up and slows down, and it does like really unconventional music things. And then I realized the whole soundtrack is like that. It's all weird. It's like the person wrote a couple of melodies and then decided like, all right, now let's take all the slow melodies and pair each of them with a fast melody, and then let's make that a song. And I'm like, why don't they just put the slow things with the slow things and the fast things with the fast things? Like it's all got a very specific. It's all got a very It's very consistent just because it's slow and fast and slow and fast.
Well, one of the things about the soundtrack is none of it like matches the tone of the game. Like usually when you're in a game, like you're walking through town, there's a nice walking through town music, and when you're fighting a boss, there's this intense fighting a boss music. But the tone of the music in this game never changes. It's always just chaotic.
Yeah, it's always the same. It's always chaotic and weird, and I kind of like it.
That sounds exhausting though when you're playing
Yes,
it.
it is absolutely exhausting when you're playing.
I can't believe we're only on like we're chapter like 13. We're like halfway through the book, dude.
Do you have much to say about the shark thing?
No, they turn into sharks and do stuff.
Yeah. So are we getting to Marco Inkster then?
Guess what's next?
Marco Inkster
More
is
Marco
rude.
Inkster.
Yeah.
I liked this part. This was my favorite part of the book up to the ending.
Well,
Marco Angst. He listens to Bob Marley.
Marco's angsting in his bedroom, yelling into his pillow. And at one point, he just shouts, "I'm way too young to have to deal with this kind of stuff." And his dad walks in, like, "Hey, you okay?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, what I said, that was just a song lyric. I was singing along with the music."
Now, just to make sure, I just Googled that just to see if it was a song lyric, and it wasn't. Just in case, if it just happened to be a song lyric that of some obscure song.
If it existed back in 1997, Marco would have totally been busted then because his dad would have Googled, "I'm too young to have to deal with this stuff," and then he would have been like, "Marco, it's not a song lyric," and then Marco would have had to tell him everything.
Yeah. It was if something's ever bothering you, you can tell me. It was a nice offer. My dad's a nice man. I'd like to grow up to be as good of a man as my father, but you know what? Right then, a dark suspicion was seeping into my mind. Why was he interested? What did he suspect? Was my father one of them? And then he says the song lyric thing.
Man, is it bad that I like all the parents and the adult characters so much more than the Animorphs in this series? Like, I really don't like the main
All
five
the
characters.
adults are one-dimensional. The exception is Chapman, and that's just because that's just human Chapman. Like even his Yerk is one-dimensional.
I don't know.
What do we know about Cassie's dad? Cassie's dad, he likes chili.
Don't
Okay,
get
what
him
do we know
started on
about Rachel's
Cassie-
mom?
Don't get him
Rachel's
started
mom,
on
she's
Cassie's
a lawyer.
dad.
What do we know about freaking?
No. But she's a lawyer. But like she has this personality that just with the very few words she says tells a lot about her character. Like the way she talks to Rachel, and I really like that. I think she's a more interesting character.
Can you please describe Rachel's mom's character to me?
Okay, she's like a lawyer, and she's like kind of distant from her daughters, and I don't remember the rest. But she's stuck in my head as a memorable character.
I think you like these characters just because it's something new, and that they specifically don't go into detail of them, so your brain fills in these holes.
Yes, what it is my brain fills in the gaps, and I like the gaps that my brain fills in.
Doesn't. My brain is just like, this is what they tell me about this character. That's all there is to know about them.
See, I really, really, really
If there's
like it.
more of his character, Applegate would have gone into it. Clearly, Applegate. No, what I'm thinking is Applegate doesn't care about these people.
What? No.
If she did, then she would talk about them more.
No, she wouldn't.
This exists because kids have parents, and they need to ground the kids every once in a while. That's what parents do.
The exception is Tobias. I really like Tobias so far. Maybe Tobias will.
Do you not like any of the Animorphs?
No. Like if I met them in real life, I think they're like annoying, and I don't usually think people are annoying. But these books just overdo the characters a lot of the time.
I think the only Animorph that I don't like is Cassie.
I really like Axe too. I like all the Andalites, honestly. I like all the aliens, honestly. The aliens are awesome.
Don't like the Andalites. As far as Horkruger go, I mean, they're interesting, but I just can't make myself care about them that much.
Do you say the Yerks? You've always cut out.
No, I love the Yerks. And I
Oh,
love
okay.
the Saxons, but just for some reason, the Andalites and the Hork-Bajir, the good guys, I don't care about, but the bad guys, I'm so interested in the bad guys.
Well, these good guys are very, very stuck up.
Yeah, I really don't like people who are stuck up.
Anyway, just me in general, for some reason, I really, really like it when a book or anything will, like, just tell you a little bit about a character, and I really like it when books imply a lot of stuff.
You're saying that Applegate is implying things about the adult's character that isn't there, but I'm like, I've seen people's characters implied through what they do, and like I've seen that done better.
Yeah, it's been done
I
better.
don't think Applegate cares about her adults at all, except for like Chapman and people who we've seen more.
Well, no, if she didn't care, she wouldn't even give them the character, but they have
No,
consistent
she has to
characters.
put them in there because kids have parents.
Well, they could have just said, "Hello, son, I love you."
No,
blah,
these
blah,
characters are not like Charlie Brown parents. Like they do have some personality. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're all different. She wouldn't make them all different if she didn't care.
They seem the same to me.
Oh,
The dads
no.
are like, "Oh, I'm a dad," and the moms are all like,
Oh, my mom.
No, Marco's dad's like kind of like close to him, but like he feels shoved off by Marco just by the way he talks. But like,
okay, no, I like Marco's dad.
Jake's dad is like kind of like a higher wage kind of guy. Cassie's dad's like a big family man that's like always wanted to eat dinner with the family and all that, and he's very connected to his kids. Who's left? Tobias, his aunt and uncle, or
If he cared about his kids, he would do more.
who?
Sorry.
If he cared about his kids, he'd come along with them on
If
the
he cared
mission.
about his kids, he'd be like, Cassie, why'd you steal my freaking car?
What? No.
Go along on the mission, yeah.
No, he wants Cassie to have her freedom.
Yeah, Cassie's parents like embarrassed her. That
Yeah.
doesn't. I didn't like them for doing that.
Oh, I
That's
did.
character though. That's a character. I've never. That doesn't seem like a generic parent thing to me.
And they embarrassed her because she did something, that she's
You know what? Okay,
embarrassing.
that scene did characterize them a bit more. I didn't
Yeah,
like.
and everything I do is like that.
Anyway, sharks or something. I don't know.
Shark
All right,
antics.
anyway, I really felt it when Marco says, "I looked at the book I was supposed to read." That ain't happening. Not tonight.
Is that how you felt about this book?
Yeah, actually.
Honestly,
like when I was trying to read this book, I had a hard time struggling through it. I've said this before, but like every time I opened it, I was just like, nope, not happening.
That
and then we're closing.
There were 3 different times when I opened up my notes and I wrote, or I had chapter 1 written down, and then I didn't even finish chapter 1, and then like 3 days would pass, and I opened, okay, chapter 1, and then I read like a page and a half, and then just okay, I'll do it later,
Yeah, that's
Yeah, I'd say this book did that, and I don't usually get that way with books. Usually, I'm like, yeah, I'll read this, but for some reason, this one just I think part of it was I read all of book 16, then continued with this one. Because what happened was, I did the thing I said where I opened up the book and I said chapter 1, okay, and I did that 3 times. So I became so familiar with the first page that when I opened up my list of books and saw the one with the shark on it, I was like, oh yeah, I know that. I've seen that cover like 4 times now. Obviously, I've read it. So I went to the next one, which was the warning, assuming that was the next one I hadn't read.
Why didn't you look at the list of books in the books channel?
Because I just saw that hammerhead shark, and I was so certain in my mind that I'd already read it. It wasn't even.
Like, oh, one new message in the server. Let me check it out. Oh, it's the next book. Okay, it's called The Escape. Okay, and then when I opened up the book, I was like, The Escape. Yeah, that's right, because I read it in the books channel.
No, I don't do that. I just go, okay, this is the next book that I have to read because I look at the previous book, and if I've read all of that one, then I know that that's not it.
Well, clearly that didn't work this time.
Well, yeah, it didn't work this time, and that's why I'm not going to do that again. But it works assuming that I know which books I've read, which seemed like a reasonable enough assumption that just happened to be very wrong.
I thought about my father sitting down in the living room and turning on the game. Who knew if he was my father any more than my mother was really my mother? I couldn't really trust him. I couldn't go downstairs and spill all my problems out for him. But you know what? I could go sit with the man and watch the game. I could do that.
Yeah, man, Marco loves his dad. And I love Marco's dad too.
It's so knife twisty because Marco's like, what if my dad's a controller too? Like that caught me off guard. I'm like, oh my gosh, his dad. He's too nice. Because like Applegate has done this a lot, where where they're doing something and they're like, this is too easy, and then something really bad happens, and I'm like, oh my gosh, is that going to happen now? And it got me on
Has
edge.
Capricorn done that a lot?
She's done that enough that I've noticed a pattern.
Oh, okay.
I mean, she definitely doesn't do it every book, or even most books.
I think Be Natural wants us to move on. We've been on chapter 12 for like 3 hours.
So then they go to the aquarium to acquire the hammerhead shark, and they're in this underwater tunnel.
Oh wait, the reason they want to acquire sharks is because they know the hammerhead sharks are clearly like
They haven't even acquired the sharks yet. Oh my gosh, why is it taking so long to talk
So
about
it was mentioned already. Yeah, the hammerhead sharks attack them. So they think, okay, these sharks, the Yurks did something to these sharks. So yeah, they think that if they morph hammerhead sharks, then these weird hammerhead sharks that are acting not shark-like won't attack them because they're like they've been trained or programmed or something to attack anything that's not a hammerhead shark.
What a weird recurring theme with the Yurks controlling non-human animals. With this book and the last book.
Well, in this book it says, oh, the Yurks, there's no way that a Yurk can fit inside that shark's brain. Dax says, oh yeah, Cassie showed me like a chart of like a shark's anatomy, and there's no way a Yurk can fit inside that. Which is new lore, I think, that Yurks specifically can't fit in brains if they're too small.
Yeah, so they have.
Oh, another thing he says, Axe says, they would also have to add ear canals, which I thought was interesting, that they have to go through the ear.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta add ears onto my Andalites, which is something that I've been meaning to do for a while. But I've never drawn them with ears because Cavalcade has never specifically mentioned that they have ears, so I just assume that they don't.
They could just have like holes in the sides of their heads that aren't very obvious.
Yeah, I'd prefer to draw deer ears though.
Yeah. So the Yurks are modifying the sharks so that the Yurks could theoretically control the sharks, and to do that they have to like give the sharks an implant in their brains that makes them smarter, and they're also using this implant to control the sharks without having actual Yurks in them.
Wait, are they? Wait, they're not controlling them, are they?
Well, they're like giving them happy feelings when they do good stuff and bad feelings when they do bad stuff.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. They're conditioning them to like attack intruders, which is
they're not like RC calling like, oh, you go here now though. It's just like
no, but they've trained the sharks basically to attack intruders, and that's what's happening. So anyway, they get to the aquarium, and they're in this underwater tunnel thing, like one of those, like you go in the tunnel and the tunnel, you're surrounded by fish and stuff. Then some controller guards catch them. I like this part where one of the guards is like, they're like, oh my god, it's an Andalite, and then one of the guards is like, there are some kids with him, and then the other guy's like, oh, that doesn't matter, there are kids breaking in here all the time, they're irrelevant.
Oh yeah, then Marco's like, excuse me, where's the souvenir shop?
Yeah, I thought that was funny.
I just like that they're like, oh yeah, kids break into the aquarium all the time, so these kids just broke in with this Andalite. That doesn't matter. These are just normal kids, whatever.
I was kind of frustrated that kids didn't like hide and morph to give Axe backup. Instead, Axe had to like destroy the whole place just to get rid of some guards.
Well, then they would have had to kill those guys. I mean, I guess they did kill those guys.
Yeah, they did kill them. They drowned them.
Every time the Animorphs kill innocent human beings, even though they're being controlled, they are innocent human beings with slugs inside them. You shouldn't kill them, Animorphs. And every time it happens, it upsets me.
The problem is they seem to take glee in it.
Yeah, they're like, oh yeah, I killed that dude. That's a human being. That human being is dead now. Like, come on.
Yeah, maybe that's why I keep thinking of Visser 1 as if Marco's mom is more of like a meat mech instead of like a person, is because the Animorphs really forget a lot of the time that controllers, like the human person, is still in there, still looking out of their eyes and thinking. Like they bring that up at the beginning of the book, but when it comes to practice, of course, it's time to actually kill controllers. They don't realize that they're actually they don't act like they're actually killing the human that's in the brain as well as they
are. This is something that's upset me throughout the series. Like, Axe keep cutting people's hands off. We'll get to that later, but at the end of the book, like, Rachel's like, dude, kill Visser 1. And it's like, why do you want to kill this human being? That's not going to do anything. Like,
and I it's kind of, I can see that's kind of upsetting because in this book, it's a problem because Marco cares about Visser 1 specifically because it's his mom. But if she was anyone else, he wouldn't. He wouldn't care. He values his mom's life so much more than just any other humans.
Hey, let me analyze. That's what this book is about. This book is about the cognitive dissonance the Animorphs must develop in order to survive. In order to survive, they must kill innocent human beings, and they just don't think about it. They have to not think about it.
No, I don't think that's true, because then the plot would be resolved by Marco just killing Visser 1 and then being like, that's just how life is.
No, because Marco can't not think about it. He tries many times in this book to not think about it.
But at the end of the book, he still thinks about it.
He tries to not think about it, but he can't.
Be natural. Are you saying that this book is a turning point where they realize, like, hey, maybe we shouldn't just kill human beings willy nilly, because this controller that we're killing could be someone's mom and someone's loved ones, and we shouldn't just kill them?
No, they don't. This book is not a turning point for them, but
They don't learn anything.
It's kind of like a meta commentary. Like, this book explores that. If they don't, the Animorphs themselves don't realize it, but in reading this book, you must think about it, because Marco, the Animorphs, in order to survive, have to not think about the fact that, like, they're killing human beings. Like, they can't avoid that in this situation and in many situations they're in. But Marco can't forget that that's his mom. Like, he tries to, like, let Rachel go kill her, and then he just can't. He can't let her do that. So that's what this book is about.
Yeah, that's what they should have learned. They should have learned that,
Well, you know what?
Visser 1 may be Marco's mom, but this other controller over here is somebody's mom, even if we don't know that person,
And that's okay.
They don't learn that.
I feel like, I don't know if this book specifically touched on it, but while reading this book, I was thinking, like, can they win the war if they don't want to kill Marco's mom?
Oh.
Like, can they survive? Like, are they just delaying the inevitable? They're just killing people, but they're not going to end up surviving anyway because they just don't have it in them to kill Marco's mom. Like, is that it? That's kind of what I was thinking about.
Why do they want to kill Marco's mom so much? What's that going to accomplish? They're just going to
Visser 1 has to die, Mustard.
Why though? Why
Mustard.
Because
It's
she's
killing the
powerful and
leader of
she's
the
in
war. That's a
control,
big
and she's
deal.
telling people what to do, and she's leading the Yeerk invasion of Earth.
No, but they would just get a new Visser 1 and
Mustard. In
She
real
didn't have any
life,
special
when you
powers,
kill a
like-
guy in charge of the war, it's a really big hit.
I guess
That's like the
but she
main
doesn't have any,
goal,
like,
is to
she
give it to
doesn't
the
have any
leader.
special powers or anything.
All right, Mustard, imagine it's the Civil War. You have your commander, and you're out in the battle, battling the Confederates. All of a sudden, your general guy stops giving orders and falls down. What do you do then? Do you just get a random guy and say, okay, you're the commander, now let's continue with this battle? No, you freak out. And
I guess I just don't imagine that that's how Yeerk society works, because Yeerks are so focused on, like, oh yeah, if this happens, I'm gonna go up and be the leader. Like, Yeerks are so focused on, like, becoming leaders. Like, every time we go into a Yeerk's head and, like, think about, like, we hear about what Yeerks want. Yeerks, like, one of the only things we ever hear Yeerks wanting is that they want to, like, become a higher rank and become better leaders. So I feel like if one of the leaders died, they'd just be like, oh heck yeah, we get a new leader now. Now I'm the leader instead. And Visser 3 would become Visser 2.
you know what?
What else
okay,
can
that's
they do?
actually really valid, because according, like, what we've seen of how Yeerk politics work, people move up the ranks really fast. Like
Yeah.
the ranking system changes very quickly. Probably.
So in my head, I'm just like, yeah, if Visser 1 died, Visser 3 would become Visser 2, and then they would get a new Visser 1. It wouldn't be a big deal.
But, like, if Visser 1 just suddenly dies, what are the controllers, like, gonna do? Like, who are they gonna take orders from?
Visser 2.
So I think it could help them in the short-term battle. Maybe it wouldn't help them in the long-term war. Like, say if they killed Visser 1 right then, what are all of the controllers in the room gonna do then? Maybe we would get a new Visser 1. And maybe the new Visser 1 hasn't been on Earth. Maybe they're not a human controller. Like,
Yeah.
maybe
You know
they
what?
don't know
That's
anything
true.
about Earth, and maybe they'll be inept.
Yes.
We're not saying that, like, there's nobody at the top once Visser 1 dies, but it's still going to make a big impact.
That's something I didn't think of, because I was like, I thought I was really mad when Axe was like, what killed? But even though she's your mom, she still is a danger to us. I'm like, what? How? Like, Axe, you're a hypocrite. You didn't kill Visser 3. That was a huge, like, that's a huge deal because he can morph. Like, that's actually, like, a significant danger.
That was not Visser 3.
Yeah, but that was still, like, the body of Visser 3 and the thing that allows Visser 3 to exist, basically.
Well, Visser 3 would have been okay.
But, like, I didn't.
If X just killed Alarin, then Visser 3 would just get another body.
Yeah, but he couldn't morph. He couldn't morph into a giant thing that eats people.
Yeah, but Visor 1 is still powerful and she can't morph, so
Visor
like
1 is
I don't
very-
think it'll make that much of a difference.
Here's my little headcanon on
Every
Visor.
time they run from Visor 3, it just he
Wait, can I
morphs.
finish my point first? Because I was in the middle of a sentence. So like, and I guess I just didn't realize. Oh yeah, Visor 1 actually has a lot of experience on Earth, and that's part of the reason she's so powerful. I like forgot about that. So that is significant.
Here's my little headcanon on Visor 3. Visor 1 is powerful because she's very smart and she has a lot of like she's actually very good at her job. Visor 3's only Visor 3 because he got an Andalite body. Because when he got that Andalite body, he was just some sub-Visor, and he was like, "Oh man, now that I have an Andalite body, I'm gonna get so many promotions." So I don't think Visor 3 is actually very competent. I mean, I think we can see that.
Yeah. Can we talk about the next thing in the plot?
Okay.
I really like this. So they acquire the shark after murdering those dudes, by drowning them, and
I have something about that.
They acquire the sharks.
What do you have to say about that?
About the drowning? He says that the tunnel is beneath millions of gallons of water. Literally, there had to be millions of gallons, 50 or 100 swimming pools worth of water. And I looked it up. 50 to 100 swimming pools combined do in fact hold millions of gallons of water, like on the nose.
Oh, that's cool. I thought you were gonna say that was only like 1,000, like
No.
a couple 100,000 gallons of water.
Yeah.
One thing that bothered me at first is when Axe was like, "Hey, if I let them go peacefully, they may let you all go." And I was like, "Well, that's stupid. They're just gonna put a slug in him." But then I remembered that Andalites always kill themselves before they get captured. The only exception was Visor 1 because he was literally passed out.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Oh, jeez, I forgot about
I mean, Visor 3, I said 1, but yeah, Law and Andalite Chronicles. So yeah, that was cool, I guess.
I forgot about that.
Man,
Axe was just gonna kill himself.
Yeah, he was.
And then my next note for after that is "F-U Axe," because he says, "Then we are underwater, protected only by badly made human plastic," because he thinks like the ocean world is a bunch of holograms.
I thought that was funny.
He said to point out that the human plastic is badly made.
Have you ever seen Andalite plastic, man? That stuff is amazing.
Sorry, I forgot the Andalites are superior to humans.
No, the only thing that humans have superior is vinegar and Cinnabons. Okay, so he gives them the good things. Axe does recognize a genius in humans, but just when they fall short of Andalites, he also points that out.
Didn't one of the books mention that humans are like have been so far like much faster with technological advancements than most other races? Other races?
Yeah.
I think that's because humans exploit each other.
Also, they do some stuff backwards, like making.
While humans were like having the Industrial Revolution, Andalites were like, "La la 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 la, let's frolic in the fields and be peaceful and happy." And also, to some guys over there are mining for metal, but whatever.
Yeah.
Let's eat grass. And humans are like, "Hey, child labor."
They also say that humans have
That's my head.
they advanced in the wrong order, like making books before computers and phones before what is it, text? Phones before something. What was it? Telephone before TV?
I don't know. It's not important.
It was. They said you invented telephones before something.
Who cares?
I do.
I don't care.
Okay.
It's weird that Andalites didn't have books.
Weird.
Like, how the heck did they come up with computers?
That's
just the magic of science fiction.
Yeah. Maybe okay. I have a small thing I just pulled out of my butt right now, but like maybe the Andalites didn't have much of a. Maybe the Andalites. It was harder for Andalites to exploit each other because like the stuff they need to eat is just grass, and that's everywhere. Whereas humans need to eat like a lot of things that are harder to obtain. So like an Andalite couldn't be like forced into taking a really crappy job for minimal pay because they'd be like, well, I just survive by eating this grass. Whereas a human like kind of has to do that in order to be able to eat.
That's cool. I like that headcanon.
So anyway, I don't want to talk about that for 20 minutes. I want to talk about the next part of the book.
Yep.
Where
I want to talk about frolicking. Man, talking about frolicking Andalite sounds really nice to me.
Shut up.
Frolicking.
What on earth do you have to say about frolicking Andalite stir?
Nothing. I have nothing to say about them. I just
Let's
like
move
the
on,
idea that we
then.
could talk about them.
It's just pleasant. It's a pleasant thought.
It's a pleasant
I don't know
image
anything
to
on
me.
Earth
I
to
really
say
like
about
frolicking
it.
Andalites.
Stay on the Andalite homeworld.
If we could have the frolicking Andalite podcast, I would have it.
But you wouldn't say anything. It would just be silent. It would just be you
Silence.
sitting in silence.
We're all watching Andalites Frolic in silence.
Welcome to the Analyze Frolicking podcast.
So anyway, they all acquire the shark. Then Marco goes to school, and I like this part where Marco is.
Man, I really thought they would be going to school a lot more in this series.
Marco goes to school? I thought he just goes to a pool.
No, it's a pool school.
Pool rhymes with school, but that's not the same place.
I really like this pool scene, by the way.
Marco says, instead of obsessing over being scared of sharks, I found I was obsessing about the shark DNA inside me. I wanted to morph that shark. I wanted to be it. I wanted to know what it felt like to be so relentless, so unafraid, so totally without emotion. Twice I dreamt about it. Both times in the dream I was a shark, only I still had my own face. And both times someone was doing something terrible. I can't remember what. I just remember thinking, oh man, that's awful. But in my dream I was a shark, and so whatever the terrible thing was, I was safe. And this connects to the thing I was talking about earlier, where it's like the Animorphs, in order to survive, have to just become emotionless to the people they're killing, like sharks. And it's like they turn into sharks and they're gonna go see Visor 1, and then Marco's like, okay, maybe I'll just escape from my feelings about my mom by being a shark, and maybe she'll die and I won't care about it because I'm a shark, but that doesn't happen.
Can you say what chapter this is from?
This chapter doesn't...
16.
I didn't include the events of chapter 16 in my summary because I didn't really understand how it connected to the rest of the story, and I guess I just assumed that it wasn't significant enough to put in.
And he's like, and he thinks about like killing there's these people bullying him about his mom, and he's half shark at this point, but he's underwater, so they can't really see. And he thinks about like ripping their throats out. Like he thinks, like he looks at. I really like how it was written. Like he's like, I just looked at the veins around his throat. And Jake has to be like, Marco, cut it out, and
save it for the real villains.
This is the kind of scene that I thought would be in Animorphs a lot more, where characters like going through their daily lives, having their own problems, and then they're like, I could turn into an animal and just escape all of this, and then they kind of like start to turn into an animal, and then they learn that you should be you. You're perfect just the way you are, and you shouldn't turn into an animal if you don't have to.
You shouldn't tear other kids' larynxes out of their throat.
Yeah, I like. Yeah,
that's what Animorphs should be about. It hasn't yet. I like
how in this situation the solution is turn into an Animorphs to kill these two boys.
Well, yeah, and that's like a thing that connects to like how they're killing innocent people who are controllers. It's like Marco's like, I'm a shark, I don't care, I can just kill these people because I'm a shark, and sharks don't care. But then Jake's like, no, you can't do that. I think it connects, and I liked this scene. This scene was like I liked this scene, and that's it.
Well, I read this and I was taken aback. Like that came out of nowhere. Marco suddenly wants to murder someone. My haiku is Marco goes to the pool and thinks about tearing kids' larynx out.
Who literally was like,
I'm gonna go to
the bathroom. Like, hey, run home to your mommy, Marcaroni. And it was like, oh my gosh, you brought up his mom.
I just laughed at Marcaroni.
Yeah, and then one of the other kids is like, his mom's dead, you can't do that. And he's like, oh, boo-hoo. She probably went off with some guy.
And then he like continues to make fun of his mom. It's like his mom probably ran off with some dude. Like, yeah, I understand. That makes sense. Why
that doesn't make me want to bite someone's throat off.
You know what? You aren't normal.
No, I don't. Yeah. It just threw me off guard. Like, suddenly he wants to murder people. And to me, this chapter is just like shocking.
It was shocking. It wasn't what I expected. Wait, I didn't get the chapter I expected, but I got the chapter I deserved. I like this chapter. I really like it when Jake comes in and starts talking Marco down.
Yeah, that's a good Jake moment.
I really like Jake and Marco in this book. Just whatever they do together.
The first two times audiobook. The first two times I listened to this, I was really confused because one of the bullies' name is Drake, which sounds a lot like Jake, especially with the guy who was reading it. And I was like, wait, was Jake there the whole time? When did Jake show up? Who is Drake a real person, or was I just hearing that? So I was really confused until I actually I opened it up and said, okay, who's Jake? When does Jake come in? Is Drake real?
So you slowed it down and no longer on 2.5 speed.
I don't listen to it on 2.5 speed.
You said 3 speed before.
3 speed was the last time I read the book.
I know. I'm just pulling your chain.
Actually, 3 speed is yeah. So I was like, okay, that's when Jake showed up. I was just really confused at first because Jake, who's real?
So we have to. Can we talk about the part where they're in they're sharks and they're in the Yerk place?
Hold on. I have something to say about chapter 17. Oh, but right before they go, Jake keeps asking Marco, "Hey, are you okay?" And like I really felt for Marco because I was like annoyed by Jake asking.
Oh, really? I was just gonna say Jake's a good friend.
No, I'm not saying he's not a good friend. I've just never liked it when I like get upset and then like for some reason people asking me if I'm okay just always adds insult to injury.
Oh,
I guess
okay.
I guess I feel emasculated when people when people acknowledge the fact that I have weakness.
For a while I felt that way, but one time I felt really, really bad, and then someone that I didn't talk to that much just went by and said, "Hey, you doing all right?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then later I was like, "You know, that made me feel a lot better." And it shocked me because I thought, you know, it always sounded like it had always been an annoying thing, you know, like I don't want someone asking if I feel all right, but in one instance, it made me feel so much better, and I was like, you know what? To have me someone feel that much better, I think it's worth it to annoy some people because it was a huge impact on the way I felt just by one person saying if you feel all right. So it changed my perspective on that.
When I was a kid, whenever I cried, I was like, oh man, I hope nobody I don't know sees me.
I didn't even want people I knew to see me cry.
I wanted people I knew to see me so that they could help me and I could stop crying as soon as possible so that I could stop being crying in front of people I don't know.
Mhm.
But I was like, oh man, I really hope somebody I don't know doesn't come up to me. Like everyone I don't know, I really hope they ignore me.
Well, yeah, I felt the way about strangers, and I feel that way about people in my own family too.
Yeah, whenever I'm upset, I don't want anyone talking to me, especially not family.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
I have a paragraph in this book, and I circled it and I wrote in big capital letters this. I'll just read it. Marco says, "How is it going to help the others if I tell them maybe I have my own problems going on here?" Jake looks surprised. Marco, I wasn't thinking about helping the others. I thought it might help you. I shook my head violently. No, it doesn't help me to have people pitying me. You know, I went through like a year of pity after my mom died, after she supposedly died. I don't like pity. Pity makes you feel small and weak. I'd rather have someone hate me than pity me. Jake sighed. No one hates you. But they would pity me. Jake didn't have an answer to that. It's that.
Yeah, I agree. Uh, I just find that so often pity feels like it's false. Like they only do it to feel good in their eyes and to feel good on my case. I just have a natural mistrust for pity.
Yeah, and I don't want people to feel like I can't handle things on my own, you know?
Well, I'm fine with that. I just don't like it when it feels fake, and it feels fake most of the time.
I don't like taking up like emotional real estate in other people's minds. I also wouldn't want to have people hate me. I'm not sure if I'd rather have people pity me or hate me. Probably, I'd probably rather have people pity me actually.
I'd rather have the hate, honestly. I've had people hate me, and it is better than having someone that uh like cares about me, but then act as if they're act the same way a stranger would, where they're just like feeling bad for me, like, oh man, that's like to me, pity is this something that doesn't need to have love involved, and that's upsetting to me more so than someone who purposely distances themselves from me out of hate for me.
Well, I guess if someone hates you, then that means they care.
Yeah,
Yes, exactly.
pity seems like a more distant emotion.
Pity to me is a very cold action.
Then I have Rachel says, "Hey, are we doing this, or are you two going to stand there all day yapping?" Then I wrote, "F you, Rachel." I am really just dropping the F word.
I like Rachel. Rachel doesn't know what's going on.
No, she doesn't, but she decides to be rude anyway.
She just thinks that they're like she just thinks they're arguing over what yellow tastes like.
Yeah, probably. And then something cool happened. Maybe not cool, but so Jake, the reason he started talking to Marco was because he was like, Marco, you're not like freaking out and being like, oh guys, this is crazy, we can't do this. And he's like, so like, because of that, I think something's bothering you. And then Rachel is like, guys. And then Marco's like, we are doing this, I said forcefully, but I'll tell you right now, this whole thing is insane. Insane. Morphing sharks to infiltrate some underwater yurt complex? What has happened to our lives? As Jake and I walk back to the others I murdered, happy now?
I murdered.
And then Jake doesn't even say anything to that. He just says, okay, like to everyone, ready?
Well, I think part of it is he recognizes that Marco like, and okay, the way I see it is the same way with the way I see Rachel's rude interference there is. I think that Rachel kind of detected that Marco was having an uncomfortable conversation with Jake, and part of it was like if she just said, "Hey, you two quit yapping," like she didn't even know about it. It would get Marco it would give him an escape from that conversation.
Well, and that's absolutely not pitying him right there. So it seems like he would like that.
Yeah, where she's giving him zero pity and being kind of rude. I think Rachel can read Marco better than anyone else in the book, and she could tell that that's what he
Are you
wanted.
saying Rachel knew what was happening, but she acted like she didn't on purpose just to make him feel better?
No, but she knows what Marco is like, and she knows that no matter what, he does not want her to be like, "Hey, Marco, are you okay? Can you want to talk about anything?" Like, you know, like she knows that like she knows that like he wants her to say, "Yo, let's get on, let's move it."
I think that just based on context, Rachel could like tell that Marco was having a very serious conversation. Because you know when one friend pulls another one aside and is talking quietly, they're obviously not arguing about what cheese tastes like.
I mean, it might be. Jake might be like, Marco, did you say cheese tastes blue earlier? It's just like, Marco, come on. I'm not sure if you're ready for this mission. Are you sure you don't want to sit this one out?
Maybe. I think it's also possible that Rachel was just being arrogant and saying, "Come on," and getting
I think
impatient.
that's a really cool interpretation of Rachel's character.
Marco and Rachel, ironically, seem to like get along better than like Marco and I mean, actually, they all get along pretty well. But like Marco and Rachel get along better than you'd think because they're always making fun of each other. But it's in a very like mutually beneficial kind of way.
My next note actually is about Marco calls Rachel Xena, and then it says Rachel laughed. Rachel laughed. She pretends to hate it when I call her Xena, warrior princess, but I know she's flattered by it. And I wasn't sure if that was just Marco being cocky and not knowing what girls like, or if that was she actually is flattered by it.
I think Rachel and Marco like each other. Not like, maybe like, but I don't think so. But I think they're really good friends.
I love Rachel and Marco as like vitriolic best buds, where they're just like, oh, they're always digging at each other, but they're friends. I love that.
Yeah,
I don't want them to have.
I don't introduce the interpretation that they like each other and that's why they make fun of each other. Then I would hate the relationship a lot.
Yeah,
more.
I wouldn't like it if it was like they were romantically interested in each other, but I really like it as like they just see each other as like kind of rivals, but in a fun way.
Yes. It would like get like, to me, it would get like the same feeling about Jake and Cassie at that point.
I mean, Jake and Marco's relationship is kind of what you guys were describing there, where it says they're best friends, but they're always arguing.
Yeah, but theirs is like less. I mean, Marco and Cassie's relationship. I mean, Marco and Rachel's relationship is more aggressive. Like Jake and Marco, like they make fun of each other and then they go, "Aha, but I love you, bud." You know, like but Marco and Cassie. I mean, Marco and Rachel just go like, "Oh, you're stupid. Yeah, you're stupid," and then they leave. You know, if that makes sense. I'm not sure if that made any sense.
Jake's the kind of friend that you can go to and be like, "Hey, Jake, we're still best buds, right?" And be like, "Yeah, we are."
Yeah, but if he said that to Rachel, Rachel would be like,
"No, frick you, Marco." Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's a thing at the end of the book that related to that too. I forgot about that.
Is that all we have to say about Rachel and Marco?
For now.
Okay. Chapter 17. Chapter 17 also has a part where Marco says that sharks have like skin that feels like sandpaper. And I had to look that up because I've never heard of that before. I thought they had skin like dolphins, but no, it's like you can make men bleed just by rubbing a shark.
Huh. I didn't know that. I didn't catch it in the book either.
If you want to pet a shark, kids, you got to do it like head to tail. Because if you do it the other way around, you get cut open.
Yeah, like if you look up a picture of shark skin, it looks like a close up. It looks like teeth.
Huh. This book brought up a question about shark anatomy that I spent a lot of time trying to Google the answer to. I couldn't quite get an answer. When it said that, like, I talked about the size of the hammerhead shark's brain, about how the yolks couldn't fit inside it. I spent a lot of time trying to figure out how big a hammerhead shark's brain is, so I would know exactly how big of a brain the Yooks could fit inside, and I wasn't able to find an answer easily. Like, you can Google it and an answer will come up, just Google's automatic thing, and if you go to the actual page, that's not, like, completely the answer. But
Yeah,
yeah.
that happens a lot when I'm trying to look up stuff about animals.
Yeah. Although this book did mention that if sharks stop swimming, they die, which is a myth according to what I Googled trying to find how big a shark's brain is.
Oh, it's a myth?
That's a myth.
According to a page of 10 things that are myths about sharks or whatever. That's a page I found trying to find how big a shark's brain is, and it was like, yeah, sharks' brains aren't that small actually. But I wasn't able to find a thing, and the ones that, yeah, they don't die if they stop moving. I think. I didn't pay too much attention to that because I was more concerned about the brain size, but I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure I was
most of the
wrong.
research we do is like 50-second research just to find
I
out.
spent like 10 minutes trying to find out how big a shark's brain is, and it wasn't specifically a hammerhead shark. But no one really cares about that, so it's not like easily documented. Anyway, that's my next note for a while.
I thought it was weird when he's talking about, or I'll just read it. The hammerhead didn't grow out of the side of my head, it grew out of the front. Like pillars of flesh were growing beneath my eyeballs and taking those eyes out to the side. That was really weird and interesting. And then I liked his description of the shark brain. The world you see is nothing but prey, and I was nothing but hunger. There's nothing else. No mother or father, no fear or joy, no worry.
Yeah, see, this is like the how they must, stop thinking about things when they're animorphs. Stop thinking about like mothers and fathers and stuff like that.
Now that made me wonder if these kids were morph Taxons and how devastating that'll be to them.
Isn't that just like? But the only devastating thing about the Taxon is being hungry.
The sharks don't really have emotions, and so they're hungry, but it's not like freaky, really.
Yeah.
In the Endlight Chronicles, they were like so hungry that they were afraid of it.
Yeah, this seems like a much less extreme version of the taxons hunger, constant hunger.
Be natural. I really like the way you're going with this this theme of
just not caring about humans. It makes me like the book more.
Me too.
Because I was like, oh, this theme's about Marco feeling pity about his mom, and I don't care that much about it, I guess.
There are books in the Animorphs series that are like they have themes, and I've brought them up before, and I think they're really really good at communicating those themes and like having the running, the running theme throughout the book. I don't think this book is one of the best of it, but it's just a thing that I noticed. It's not. I don't think it's delivered, really great or anything.
No, I like subtlety a lot.
I've noticed it. It's just a thing that I noticed, and I like, and it's better than nothing. No point does Marco say like, "Oh, we had killed those dudes back at the aquarium, but we just had to not think about it in order for our survival."
It's you called it like a meta like theme earlier, where like the Animorphs do not realize that it's a lot of times when there's a theme in the book, it's very clear to the Animorphs that that's what this this adventure is about.
Yeah.
This time it like absolutely wasn't, because yeah, to me it's always upsetting when they kill human beings because they kill innocent people, and that upsets me every time.
Really, that like never upsets me.
When they cut off people's hands, as soon as they win, there's gonna be like they killed people and they cut people's hands off, and I don't like imagining that when the Yurks are finally defeated.
I just never imagined that. I'm just like, yeah, controllers are just enemies, like enemies in a video game.
When I was a kid, I was mad at Rachel for not murdering that dude who was mean to his elephants. So I mean,
I feel bad for killing enemies in video games sometimes. My dad does too. Like the alien creatures in Half-Life, my dad feels bad for killing them.
Are they sentient?
They don't talk or anything. They're like animals, alien animals.
But yeah, I think you guys talking about like the theme of this book and how they have to like go emotionless and learn they have to kill people, I think it makes me feel a little bit better about it. Because it's like, yeah, I guess you're right. I guess maybe they do have to kill people sometimes. It seems like they are very eager to do it a lot of the time, but I don't know.
It does, yeah.
Like in my ideal world, they would what they would do every time is when they can, they lock people up in a room for 3 days and get the Yurk out and then kill the Yurk and kill the Yurks when they're in like storage pools like they did in the hospital. Like, that's my ideal way for them to win the war.
It seems like it would be very difficult to pull off.
Yeah.
It would, yeah.
I like killing things unnecessarily. Be Natural gets mad at me whenever we play Super Mario World because I will like go back and kill the Koopas that have already jumped over me, and she's like, "No, just go ahead." I'm like, "No, but that one survived."
No, when I play Metal Gear Solid, like, I will purposely not shoot people just because I know that if I just, like, hold them in a headlock and choke them a bit, they'll just pass out and not die. Because I feel bad for killing them, even though they're
But
spies.
they'll know that you were there. It ruins your stealth.
Huh?
He said, but then they'll know that you're there and you'll ruin the stealth.
Yeah, they will, but to me it's worth it because I don't want to kill them.
So anyway, they make it to the Yerk place.
Is this mid chapter 19 now?
Yes.
At the beginning of chapter 19, there are 2 of 3 big hatches that are open, and they have to decide which one to go into. And Rachel's like, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, heads or and then someone says heads or tails, and 1 potato, 2 potato, and actually says, what do these things mean? And I thought that was funny. And then Malcolm's like, these are highly advanced human methods for making choices. How about the middle door?
Now, I've noticed that in the earlier books, when Axe would ask something, they just ignore him. But now they just lie to him like he's a little kid.
You're right.
I like it.
Yeah. I wish they'd just answer his questions, but it's funny.
That would be boring though.
I mean, my mom used to do that
As
to
a
me.
kid, I would find that annoying because I would already think of the answer and I'd be like, I know exactly what I would tell Axe in this situation. But then they would make a joke instead, which I wasn't expecting, and I'd be like, "Ugh, why don't they do the thing that I'm expecting them to do?"
When I was a kid and like I read like stories where like someone was sexist, like I would get angry, like, and then like the girl who was like having someone be sexist to her would respond with something jokey like, "Oh, I bet you won't think that way when it's time for prom," or whatever. And I would be like, ah, I in that situation I would have given him a whole speech. Why didn't
She
she
should
do
have turned
that?
into an elephant and killed
haven't
that guy.
Yeah, she
that
should
thought
turn that.
process when I was a
She should
kid.
kill that guy. Why is she just making lighthearted
Like, why doesn't she just
jokes
punch
about
him in the
this?
face? That's what I would do.
Yeah, like, but now I'm like, it doesn't matter.
But she's taking the high ground.
Yeah, exactly.
She's not letting stupid things like that get her angry.
Anyway, that's not really related to this book, but it reminded me of that because like when I was a kid, I had some stupid ideas. Okay, so
Anyway,
they go into the place, and then the shark. They get into the shark conveyor belt, and then they get stuff implanted into their brains, which is weird. And then they morph to human. Then they try to morph to fly, but they can't because the implant like almost explodes their heads because it's bigger than a fly. So they have to figure out a way to melt the implant so that they can be able to morph flies and stuff and not have to worry about that for the rest of their lives.
I was annoyed by how long it took them to realize, oh, the yolks are putting implants in the sharks to make their brains bigger so they can use them as controllers. And that's what happened to us. The reason that we got implants in us and the other sharks didn't is because the sharks got scanned and the yolks were like, oh, the robot was, the machine thing was like, oh, there's no thing in this shark yet, so I got to put an implant in it. And it took them like 2 chapters for them to go like, oh, guys, this is what happened. I should have realized earlier. And it's like, what? That wasn't like obvious? I was just annoyed by
I
that.
felt that way in this chapter.
Yeah, that's just a kind of like
that happens a lot in children's books, though.
Yeah, I just totally forgot.
I think this instance of it seemed more obvious and bothersome than in any other Animorphs book to me that I recall, at least.
What I'd like to say about that is that, like, when a character in a book is in a confusing situation, their brain is usually too overloaded by what's going on. But like, if you're a disinterested reader, your brain is automatically working on like how to solve the problem. Whereas a character in a situation is like, how do I? What's happening?
And I think part of it's because they were morphed as sharks, you know.
Now, for me at this point, I would just completely stop caring about the book. I was like, okay, this book sucks. So I just was reading it and I was like, okay, whatever. That's kind of annoying too, but I don't care. Just at this point.
And then
chapter 20, the end of chapter 21 happened, and I was like, this book's pretty good.
That's the next thing I have to say.
Wait, hang on.
Let me check chapters 19 and 20 first to make sure I don't have anything good there.
I'll say my quick note. Someone says something about like it's enough fuel to keep you in nightmares for the rest of your life, and that just made me wonder if was nightmare fuel a phrase at this point, or is that like a new thing?
No, I think that's a coincidence.
Yeah, I assume it was a coincidence. It just made me wonder, like, nightmare fuel. I wonder if that's like a. Nothing is creepier than watching a human being turn into a fly. That is enough fuel to keep you in nightmares for the rest of your life.
Can flies swim? Because I had a feeling that whenever flies go in water, they just drown.
What? They weren't trying it underwater. They were like on the dock.
They're partway in the water.
Oh, what? I
the
thought they were
dock?
underwater.
They were weren't they standing on the dock?
I didn't know that.
Okay, according to the Transformers Wiki, nightmare fuel is a term coined by Mystery Science Theater 3000 and popularized by TV tropes.
Whoa.
Huh.
Now that's just the Transformers Wiki. I don't know if that's true.
Why is it on the Transformers wiki?
Wiki say this?
I googled nightmare fuel origin, and that was the first thing that came up.
Is that like bullcrap? Like what?
I don't know.
Because if they were lying, they would connect it back to Transformers somehow.
Okay, Know Your Meme also says MST3K. So yeah, it came from Mystery Science Theater.
What year does it say?
93.
Oh, so it was before this book.
Oh, they did say morph here in the water. Well, I mean, flies can float on the water. It's fine, guys. Whatever. Yeah, that probably wouldn't have worked because they probably, most likely, they would have sunk below the water before they were light enough to stand on it. So, I mean, but you know, whatever. That wasn't the problem.
Anyway, they don't end up as flies, so who cares?
Yeah, I don't
This
care.
is I don't know exactly how. So they have an implant in the brain, and then they try to morph it, and the implant stays the same size, which is lore, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's only because it's like inside the brain, and the brain is like what thought comes from. So like the brain, I don't know.
The brains change size though.
My thought was that
Yeah.
it was because they don't picture, like, because Wizard 3 can morph when he's a Yerk in there. Like,
Yeah.
My thought is that if you don't picture precisely what it is that you want to incorporate into your morph, then you can't do it. So, like, since they don't know what it looks like.
Have we seen Visser 3 change into anything that's smaller than an Andalite?
We haven't.
Jake in book 6, Jake's Yerk turned into an ant.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, you brought that up last time we talked about this.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's right.
yeah, that's weird.
That's weird.
So I'm thinking it has to be like you have
That
to.
doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't.
I just have to. This is just what I come up with to make it make any sense. Okay.
I think we talked about that like in a different episode. How we were like, oh yeah, no, Visit 3 never morphed into anything smaller than Andalite, and then someone was like, wait, a different Yerk turns into an ant. And we're like, what? How?
It's the same way you morph clothing.
That would have
He
made that book
specifically-
shorter because then the Yerk couldn't morph into anything very small.
He specifically morphs. He specifically pictures the Yerk slug body inside of his brain as he morphs, and also the clothes. That's how. It's like morphing clothing. That's how it goes.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
It makes so much sense.
Why don't they just morph? Why don't they just think about the freaking implants? Is it because they don't know what the implants?
Yeah, they didn't see them.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a question. Well, actually, not a question, but have we brought up the Yerk's plan yet, or is that not revealed until later? Like, why the Yerks are getting sharks?
There's this planet called Lyra, and there's these aliens called Lyrans on them, and the Lyrans are psychic, and the Yerks would really are conducting an invasion of Lyra right now, and they need some like Hork-Bajir basically. But the problem is that all the civilization on Lyra is underwater, so they need something that's like Hork-Bajir but underwater. So they're trying to use hammerhead sharks from Earth. So this is just their project. This is just their R&D. They're just trying to figure out how to use sharks, and the Animorphs just come and ruin it. This book doesn't even really have consequences for like. Well, actually, I guess it does because they kind of bring up how like Lyrans are psychic and that it would be bad if some Yerks are like able to just walk around and read their minds immediately.
Yeah, that would be pretty bad.
So I guess it is. I mean, it's more distantly related to.
Is
things.
the Lyran that is in the area a controller?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
I wasn't entirely sure about
What
that.
area?
who it is because it talks. I mean, it's cooperating with the Yerks.
It doesn't
in this
specifically
book.
say that it's a controller.
I guess not.
It could be that it could be a Lyran ally.
I don't know. Why would the Yerks need allies when they could just take over their mind?
Why not?
I didn't think Lyrans are generally good.
Could be like no, though. He could be like they could be coming at him with the Yerk, and he'd be like, "I can hear your thoughts, dude. You're not putting that thing in me."
Well, they just hold him down.
They're slimy though.
Guys, I found the solution to to the invasion. Just cover yourself in slime. The Yerks will
Yeah,
never
they
be
can't grab you. You'll slip away.
Okay.
Anyway,
If you can't get in your ear, if your ear is too slimy, then just slide out.
Everyone just the the stock prices of lube just like skyrockets.
Yeah.
That's how you.
They have
WD-40.
nothing to get a grip on in your ear canal. They can't go in.
I don't want to put stuff in my ear. Oh,
Have to if
No.
you don't want to be a
I
controller.
don't like anything. What do you mean? I'm fine with being a controller.
No, for the good of humanity, you have to cover yourself.
I think
in
I've talked
lube.
about this before, but I'm like, being a controller, worse things. I wouldn't have to like do homework. My York brain would have to do it for me.
Yeah, but it's humiliating, and you have to worry about your family being controlled.
No, my York would act exactly like me, so it wouldn't do anything that I wouldn't do.
We've brought this up before, where the Animorphs act like being controller is the worst thing ever, and that anyone who doesn't want to do it is a horrible person, but they're not. There are very clear benefits to it.
Tom was like crying, like when he just thinking at the thought of Jake being a controller. Like, it's not just the animals who think it's a big deal.
Yeah, no.
All the people in like the Yoku were like
The
begging
for
for
me
death.
is I get to still hear and see. If something was mind controlling me, usually with mind control, the people who are possessed wake up and be like, "Oh, where am I? What am I doing?"
Yeah.
But I would still be able to experience my life through my own eyes, and be like,
You couldn't even aim your eyes. Like you couldn't even like move your eyes back and forth on your own accord. Like that sounds horrifying to me. Like that sounds like very depressing. You can't focus. You can't even control what you're focusing, what your eyes are focusing on.
"All right, okay."
Like that's like, and then all the controllers are like they're wishing they were dead because they're just like, it's one thing. I mean, I guess if your Yorick is like your friend or something and is doing fun things just to entertain you, then that's some one thing. But like these Yoriks are like trying to just enslave their friends and family. So I mean, that's kind of a different thing.
Yeah, okay.
But if I guess if you were a controller and your Yorick just rode around on roller coasters all day and did fun things that you like doing.
I don't think I would be a voluntary controller. Like, I don't think I would choose being a controller over being free. But like, the Animorphs never addressed that. Like, what if somebody just like thought it was fun?
And people do think it's fun. Some people in the York pool were like watching TV and laughing.
Anyway, that doesn't happen in this book. So they do stuff. Guys, chapters 1 through 27 are such a mess. I had trouble writing the summary.
Chapters 1 through 27.
Chapters 21 through 27 are such a mess.
The entire book.
What? A mess.
Those are the best chapters.
I can't. It's so hard for me to follow what's going on because it's just
actually that's true. It is a mess. It's pretty chaotic.
I like how Visor 3 just shows up for no reason. Like, he literally just bursts to the floor, and he's like,
hello!
He didn't do anything. And then Visor 1's like, you idiot, get out of here, I hate you. And then they just bicker, and then that, like, allows the Animorphs to, like, just slip by and get out while they're bickering.
Yeah.
Doesn't the Marco's mom stuff happen before that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I know, but I was...
Sorry, we're just complaining.
So,
okay, chapter 21, important chapter.
Alright, so Tobias, X, and Marco... So they've like split up. The other three are like just gonna fight and destroy things and distract. And Tobias, Axe, and Marco are going inside to they have to figure out how to destroy this thing, the whole entire building. They have to destroy it, and that's in order to get these implants out. That's the only way. I mean, I think it would have been cool if they just went back and they brought the Chi back, and the Chi were like, oh yeah, I can totally perform brain surgery on you guys and take those all out, but whatever. Anyway.
That would have made so much more sense.
So Marco goes in, so the Marco and Tobias and Axe are running around in there, but for some reason Tobias is morphed into a human. It's not explained why. I thought it was so that he would look like a human controller, except Axe isn't morphed as a human, so he's just an Andalite running around, so I don't know what's up with that. Anyway, the other, so then Marco runs into Wizard 1, oopsie daisy.
Okay, hang on. Okay, I have some questions about this. You guys all assumed that it was an accident that he walked into his mom's room? Why did you assume it was an accident?
I didn't pay attention to how it happened.
I assumed it was on purpose.
Earlier Tobias said, so where do we go, left or right? And Marco said, left. And then he says, I couldn't tell him that was the building that connected to the big porthole with the grand but empty office behind it. The office I was sure was my mother's. And based on that, I assumed that Marco was intentionally trying to find his mom. I don't know why. I'll get to that later.
Yeah, to save her.
Oh, yeah, because he has this
vision. He wants to see his mom again.
He has this vision of turning into a gorilla and carrying her home over his shoulder, and then...
Okay, so he wanted to be a gorilla and then go to the mom thing? He wasn't thinking straight.
He wasn't thinking straight.
He was just drawn to his mom, like the Termites drawn to the queen.
Yeah.
Okay. So my assumption was that he intentionally went to talk to his mom, and that upset me a lot because I was like, why would you? You know you can't like save her at this point. Why would you go and see your mom? This was one thing that really upset me about this book. A huge recurring theme through the series is giving hope to the human controllers, like Martha, whatever her name is. Like Rachel like puts a note in locker that says, "Oh, hey, your parents love you. It's okay." And like Jake calls to Tom on the phone and says, "Hey, it's okay, everything's okay." But in this scene, like all Moko does is completely take away the hope from his mom that her son isn't a controller anymore. So I was like, why was Moko the one to go into his mom's office? All that did was make Moko's actual mom probably like more upset than she already was. He completely took away the hope that her family isn't a controller, which is a
Yeah.
big deal in the series.
Oh well, that
Well,
sucks.
yeah, but that changed.
What do you mean it changed?
I mean, they. Oh, you're right.
Then Marco was like, "I'm just kidding. I'm an Animorph," and then he turns into a gorilla and
No,
carries her
I
home.
feel like one thing that was making Moko's actual mom feel a little bit better while she was ruling the human race is that, oh, at least my son's okay, and now that hope's just gone. And that like wasn't mentioned in the book at all. It wasn't a big deal. It just happened, and it upset me.
Yeah, when I was writing the story, I realized that nothing is really established in that scene where he's talking to his mom. He just goes in there and she's like, and she kind of talks to him as if he's a controller, and then he just kind of leaves.
I like Marco, the Bizarre one is he's like I'm the technician who came here to fix the computers, and then Bizarre one's like, well, where are the other three? And he's like, oh, the other three, they had a problem. I think Bizarre 3 killed them for doing something wrong. And then Bizarre one's just like, oh, okay. Like, that's just a thing that, like, Bizarre 3 is just, like, such a shit show he's running.
Moko says it was possibly the stupidest lie I've ever told, and yet it worked.
It's not the stupidest lie I ever told. That's like probably something people say every single day in your
Yeah, he didn't know that though.
Where's
it sounded stupid to me when I heard it.
Like, where's the guy? Why isn't he here for our meeting? Oh, I think Bizarre 3 killed him. Okay.
Sorry, Visit 3 at my homework.
Yeah, I get the feeling that's the kind of
Bizarre 3
excuse.
killed my homework.
Yeah.
Visit 3 killed my partner for the science project. I couldn't finish it.
Hang on, so do you guys think that he went to his mom's office on purpose then?
I do.
Why?
Maybe not consciously, but he was definitely like, okay, I'm going towards her.
All right,
why
what
did
it
he
says
want
is
to?
that
That's
at the
just
end of the hallway was a door different from the others. On it was a gold symbol of some kind, like a presidential seal. So I didn't really notice that phrase when I was first reading it, but now that I see it, I'm like, that's probably why Marco decided that door, because he's like, that's a special door.
They're
This one's probably
to
behind
destroy this whole place. So do you think the button to destroy the place is going to be located in some random person's room? That's probably.
I mean, wasn't it?
Moko seems like he's very clearly trying to get all the other Animorphs away so he can talk to his mom. That seems like what happened in this chapter.
Yeah, that's what he wants. I mean, he's not in his right mindset because he's had all this grief about his mom for however many years.
He just wanted to be like, oh, guys, I can handle it. Just leave me alone.
When you've been away from someone you really, really love for that long, and then you realize they're there, and you have a chance to talk to them, nothing's gonna stop you, even like death.
No, I just know Moko cares about his mom, but what he does just seems really, really bad for her already awful mental health because she's being controlled by this person.
It is. Okay.
I'm just upset that it wasn't brought up in the book, and Capelgate, in my eyes, downplayed it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
So yeah, the next thing I have is that Axe.
Hold up. So wait.
Wait, a lot of stuff happens in the scene.
Marco hits a button in this room?
No, I'm just saying, like, what they're trying to find the thing that can allow them to destroy.
I have more notes about Marco talking to his mom.
Whether it's a button, honestly, it really doesn't matter for the sense of the.
Well, they don't find anything in there. He just walks in, talks, and gets out. So
no, doesn't he? Isn't that where he finds the computer that X hacks?
In Visser 1.
I want to talk about Marco talking to his mom more because this is the best scene in the book. So like
whatever.
What was it? Moko's talking to his mom, and she says,
either whether it was actually there or not, it's a good place to look. Like that's
okay, maybe he looks,
check.
but he didn't find it.
So then he found it.
That wasn't really communicated that well, though.
Yeah. Well, I just assumed it. Then he found it in the room.
I think it's supposed to be ambiguous.
I mean, I think the whole thing with the ending is Moko, all the other animals were causing chaos, killing Hookbaji or whatever, like just fighting in the hallways, and Moko was just thinking about his mom the whole time. I thought that was interesting. I think that's why this end chapter seems so confusing. Marco wasn't
Yeah,
focused.
because Marco's not that into like what's happening around him, so he
Yeah.
doesn't like describe it in much detail.
Yeah, I kind of liked that. There's a part Marco's talking to Visor One, and Visor One says, "You must learn to control your host more completely. My own host is in here creating an awful racket," she said, tapping her head. "But I do not let her weeping and wailing disturb me." And then Marco just says, "No, Visor, I will try harder to control my host."
Yeah, I guess at that point, that's when Marco should have been like, "Oh my god, I screwed up. Now, my mom is so sad."
I wanted
Yeah,
to destroy that
he
bit.
doesn't really like acknowledge that.
I see
at
that as
all.
a missed opportunity, though, more than like a hole in the book. I guess like that could have been an opportunity for Marco to like double down and maybe even like act out and just anyway renew his pledge to save her.
The thing is, it upset me a lot, and Capelgate didn't acknowledge that the reader should be upset by it. That's all. I guess I didn't feel like Marco realized that he caused his mom more pain.
Marco's apathy made you more upset, really.
And then she stood up. She straightened her hair exactly the way my mom always did. I looked into her eyes, wishing I could see some sign there of my mother. Wishing I could tell her, "Don't worry, Mom. I'm not a controller. I'm fighting, Mom. I'm fighting them, and someday I'll save you." But that would have been fatal. And I'm not someone who does emotional, stupid things. Sometimes I wish I were.
See, I think
Yeah,
that's
what
what
about
you wanna
that? That's
do.
pretty. That's kind of what you wanted to happen, isn't it?
Like
Yeah.
he's
He doesn't angst for like 5 paragraphs about it, but he does mention it.
And that like relates to what B Natural was talking about earlier, how like they have to like themes of, I don't know, themes of the book. To me, it just didn't seem like Marco specifically realized that walking into his mom's office was a really, really bad idea.
You know,
Maybe it did at that point, though.
it's a sort of bad idea, but it's not really, really bad. Like it didn't have as many consequences as I was expecting.
The consequences are his mom has no hope.
figure it out. They have to destroy
Look,
the place.
you're very upset by the fact that Marco's mom is upset. I don't think I cared that much at that point.
Hope is very important. I don't care about hope that much, but it's very important to the Animorphs series as a whole. Like that was Elfingore's last word was hope, and in the end of the book, Marco's like, "Oh, I still have hope that my mom's alive," but his mom doesn't have any now because I don't know, man. It just upset me. I can't help that.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. Listen, I'm very annoyed at this point that the Yerks just leave their computers sitting out for unguarded because they know fucking well that Andalites can hack their computers in like 30 seconds.
Do they know that?
They must because it's happened like 5 times already. It's like half
You know
of
what?
the
You're right.
half of the book's resolved by Axe hacking something, and then he's like, "Okay, I made it so that all the Yerks are gonna explode in 30 seconds."
Okay,
Were they aware of it though? Were they aware of it in the past?
Yeah, at this point, did they know? Did everyone know? Hey, people are here, because I feel like they should have.
No, I mean, are you aware that Andalite attacked their computers? Just a lot of the thing about hackers is that he does it sneakily.
No, but like, shouldn't the Yerks be guarding their computers at this point, like with personnel, like not just have computers all over the place, just sitting out in the open? And like, you know, as soon as they know Andalites are there, which they do because Jake and the others are attacking, shouldn't they like have someone guard all the computers or something? Anyway, it's just I was just a little annoyed by how easily Axe was able to be like, yet again, Axe hacks the computer, and he's like, I could just make it explode in 5 minutes. Another thing, how is 5 minutes ever gonna be enough time for them to do all the shit they do later after this? Like, they're like, oh yeah, 5 minutes seems like a good enough time to find our friends, get them away from the horrible battle they're in, demorph somewhere safe, and then remorph into something that'll be safe when the thing explodes, and then get far away from this place when it explodes. Yeah, I think I can do that all in 5 minutes, even if Visor 3 doesn't show up out of nowhere.
Now, in the video game, something very, very similar happens within an underwater base and they exploded, but it's set to 10 minutes when Axe hacks it.
That wow, the video game was superior to the book in a way. Crazy.
No, it's Marco's idea for the thing to go in 5 minutes, I noticed. He says, destroy the facility that may trigger the liquidation of these head implants. Axe, can you build a 5-minute delay? He says, 5 minutes? Done. In 5 minutes, millions of your gallons of water will come rushing into this place.
And then the Animorphs are like, all right, cool, let's just grow gills in 5 minutes. Yeah, and those who can't grow gills, I guess they wish they could. Haha,
Just
no,
drown a bunch of people.
I mean, yeah, themes and all, and about how they have to, in order to survive, they have to not think about the people they're killing. But like, I mean, it is pretty silly when they make jokes about it like that. Like, aha, just a day of an animorphing.
I'm glad you guys all said you were confused by the ending of this book because I'm like, wait, where's Visit 3? What's he doing there? Why?
If this was a planet, it would be less confusing.
Visitor 3 just swims toward this place for no reason, and
He's like, what's going on?
yeah, he's just like, just checking up, and then he just freaking drills through. He's a giant sea snake, and he just bursts through the place, and like he just shows up, and Visitor 1 is like, "What the fuck are you doing here? Get out!" And then and Visitor's like, "I'm just checking in," it's just, while all the Animorphs are like fighting the Hork-Bajir and stuff.
I like how they're like, oh, Visit 3 is coming with Hork computers. It must be a rescue mission. And they're like, what? There's no way they could get a rescue mission this fast. And they're like, no, it's not a rescue mission. It's just a coincidence. Visit 3 is throwing up again.
It's just a coincidence. Visitor 3 is showing up for no reason again.
Just our bad luck, Tobias said.
Okay.
Chapter 23 had some lines I really liked. Like, honestly, as soon as Marco's mom said come in, the book suddenly became really, really good, and I liked everything that was said, and I had really memorable quotes, and I liked the action, and I liked the dialogue, and I liked the way Marco had angst. So I don't...
any different than the rest of the book.
To me, it was. It was like he flicked a switch, and suddenly someone else was writing it who was more competent, suddenly.
I mean, yeah, chapter 22 is my favorite chapter
You
of the
think
whole
the
book.
rest of the book is a mess, but not this?
Yeah.
Chapter 22 is by far my favorite scene.
Chapter 21 to the end was...
Opinions are wrong, and listen to them and go
For some reason,
and smile
every
and
time
smile and nod along and go okay, yes, and then move on.
Maybe that'd be a better reaction.
What's going on?
I'm just wrong again, that's all. Marco like turns around the corner, and then Axe puts his saw blade up to his head, and then up to his neck, and Marco says, hey, it's me. Please don't remove my head. I use it sometimes. And I thought that was very funny. At another point, Tobias talks in his human morph, and Marco says, blah, 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 said Tobias in his now unfamiliar human voice. And I thought that was really cute and kind of sad.
Tobias as a human, I have to say, didn't really impress me in this book.
Yeah,
like we don't even know who human Tobias is, and Marco feels the same way.
Well, I just noticed that it doesn't angst or really. No,
I don't know why. I have no idea why Capelgate had him turn into a human here, because it's not. He didn't even run into anybody. Like he didn't even have a say. It didn't. They did. At no point in the book was it like, oh, the good thing he's a human so that he can do this. It's like no, he just no reason. But okay. Yeah, I can understand why you didn't like it then, because there's...
Man, this would have been a good opportunity for Tobias to provide Axe. just like in battle, like Tobias is just riding Axe and he's just whipping his tail around, killing people.
They just find a sword on the ground and Tobias picks it up and he's like, Axe, I must ride your back.
Yeah, and if he's gonna be a human, might as well.
I really like that image.
Tobias has a lance. They're dueling.
I thought I liked the image of just like Marco just talking to his mom, and then meanwhile behind him, like in the other room, all this just like this huge fight's going on, and I like that that wasn't shown.
Yeah,
because the fight scenes have been getting kind of boring.
So I like that there was a huge fight at the end of this book, but it like wasn't the focus at all. Like there's more important stuff going on, like Marco and his mom.
So in chapter 24, they all run out to where the fighting is going on.
Marco turns into a gorilla, but like nobody notices.
There's a part. This is why I mentioned this way like earlier when we talked about the ending, like 2 hours ago or whatever. Where I didn't think Visor 1 was like that smart, because in this scene she shows some like Visor 3 arrogance, where one of the mind reading Lyran creatures is like, "Don't be fooled. This Visor 1, this is no Andalite." And then Visor 1's like, "No, you idiot, it's a gorilla. They're related to humans, but not human." And then the Lyran's just like, "I beg your pardon for disagreeing," but and then it gets cut off by like Marco slapping it or something. I don't know, but
here's my theory. Visor 1 knows they're human, but she doesn't want to tell Visor 3 because then Visor 3 would like be better at his job.
What? I don't think Visor 3 was in this scene though.
Yes, he was. He was standing right. He just burst through the floor for no reason and showed up, and he's like,
okay,
hey,
so
guys.
Visor 1. Oh wait, so
what form is Visor 3 in?
A big giant snake, sea snake.
It's like a 50-foot snake or something. Wait, he's in the same room as Visor 1? I don't see the name Visor 3 on this page at all. This is chapter 24.
And from the nearby dock, a huge yellow serpent reared up suddenly. Visor 3, I assume my mother said contemptuously.
I like that part where he's just she's just like, oh, Visor 3.
Okay, yeah, Visor 3 shows up in 23. Okay.
Where is it? Where?
So I don't think
It's also on
I don't
page
really
2.
think Visor 3 is in the room with them when they're having
He
that
shows
little
up a few
exchange.
seconds later, though.
I don't think he's in the same room though.
Anyway, she doesn't want to say like, oh, you're right, they are humans. You know, like she doesn't want that to be a thing that's known.
Well, how does she know it then? Just because she's that smart?
She's smart, yeah.
Why doesn't she just kill them?
Because she wants Visor 3 to suck at his jaw. That's why she released them in book 5.
I'd rather not believe that Visor 1 is more of a jerk than she is.
I don't think Visor 1 knows the humans. I think she was just being arrogant, saying, "No, idiot, that's a
What's the
gorilla."
point of her knowing they're humans, though? That's the thing.
You know, Chapman and various Yerks throughout the series have been like, oh guys, they might be humans, and then they're like, but I don't want to tell Visor 3 that, and they're like, okay.
They would be comfortable telling Visor 1 though.
They would be, and a lot of them like really don't like Visor 3. So I bet a lot of them would be like secretly anonymously tell Visor 1, give them a tip, give Visor 1 a tip, and then Visor 1 is put into implementing this into the 4-dimensional chess that she's always playing.
Hang on, do you actually believe Visor 1 knows the human?
That's my theory that I just came up with.
Is it only because I said she was stupid for this one scene?
Yes.
Okay. I don't think it's that stupid, because to be fair, well, when she's talking to this alien creature, the Lyran, and he's like, "No, that's not a human." Or no, the Lyran says, "Oh, that's a human." And I guess it's fair. She doesn't know the species, the Lyrans very well. Maybe the Lyrans can read minds, but they're really stupid. And she's like, "No, that's a gorilla that looks similar. I know humans very well. You don't. You just got on Earth. This isn't a human." And also, she doesn't immediately kill him for disagreeing with her. So it's not nearly as stupid as Visor 3.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I'm
Or
fine.
that.
I like that interpretation better. Anyway,
and then I thought this scene was very silly because Visor 1 is a human and Visor 3 is just a giant snake, and they're just arguing at each other, and they're just like, "You're stupid. No, you're stupid. No, you're stupid." And meanwhile, the Animorphs and Hork-Bajir are like fighting all over the place.
There's a lot of like Eye of the Storm stuff where there's like this like peaceful like just talking or arguing going on when there's all this chaos going around and the building's about to blow up. It was cool. I like that stuff.
Yeah, that's what I love about this. It's like chaotic, but it doesn't feel messy because there's very distinct things going on.
It's like the Eye of the Storm.
Yeah. Can I say an assumption that I held while reading these last like 7 chapters and even after I reread them?
Okay.
I thought that the yellow snake that was Visor 3 was a Lyran that he'd morphed.
No.
So I interpreted Lyrans as being like having like slithery bodies.
Although that would be pretty epic. Why doesn't he just do that?
Yeah, and I thought it's a big snake. Like, okay, it's Lyran they're talking about.
If Visor 3 acquired a Lyran, would he be able to
would
read
have done
minds?
psychic things if he was a Lyran.
Man, you'd think that if the Yerk Empire had any of their shit together, as soon as they have a Lyran, they'd ship it over to Visor 3 so he could morph it. But
you'd think, yeah.
I guess they don't have any of their shit together.
So what I thought when I read this was that Visor 3 had acquired a Lyran from his Lyran adventures that the Yerks are doing. And then in chapter 24, the Lyran that shows up, the Lyran controller that shows up is Visor 3 and Lyran Morph. And he's using his abilities, and he now knows that Marco is a kid.
That would have been awesome. I feel like Visor 3 was like
that's what I thought.
Visor 1.
Wouldn't something in the warning conflict with that, though?
We can't talk about book 16.
Because if Visor 3 knows that, if Visor 3 knows that Marco is a human, wouldn't that affect his actions in the next book?
We can't talk about book 16.
In the next book?
You want to answer that question?
Yeah, I do. Stir your dome.
I don't think he's in there. Is he in the next book?
Do you realize now that wasn't Visor 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's better if it is Visor 3.
That would be cool.
That would make more sense. I like thinking of the Lyran as like an all-powerful, cool dude, though.
Yeah, the way the Lyran talks is very formal, like similar to the Elemist, where he's like, "Oh, excuse me, I do believe that you're incorrect." Like he talks kind of like that.
Yeah.
Is the Lyran definitely a controller?
I just assumed that he wasn't.
No, it says Lyran controller.
Oh, it does. Okay.
But I don't know if that necessarily means he is, because Marco has been wrong in the past.
By that logic, any of the Hork-Bajir they're fighting could be like just Hork-Bajir who happen to be allies of the Yeerks for whatever reason.
Well, no, but the Hork-Bajir are already enslaved. The Lyrans aren't.
Why would this Lyran be helping them enslave his own species?
He's not.
Yeah.
Wouldn't say he was helping them.
He is.
The whole base is there so that they can get sharks in order to get the Lyran planet.
Yeah.
Well, no, they have Lyrans that they're kind of holding, but the Lyrans are like kind of playing them. Was what my thought. My thought the Lyrans are very diplomatic people, and they are like playing into this Yeerk thing.
Hold up, how come the Lyrian just didn't tell Visser 1 afterward?
Didn't the whole building explode like soon after that?
Forgot?
He forgot when Marco punched him.
I don't know if the Lyran wanted to tell her that. I think the Lyran just wanted to cause chaos. I think Lyran's really smart.
I broke out of my trance, whipped around, and punched the Lyran right in his froggy mouth, and from the nearby dock, a huge yellow serpent reared up suddenly. Yeah, Lyran and yellow serpent, same exact things.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
That could make
Those two sentences conflict that.
Well, yeah, it's like because it's confusing. So there's
You
like
guys
oh,
said
it's
the
like
end of this book is
the
confusing.
Lyran
so
has it doesn't go in his mouth, and there's a
Yellow
serpent going.
serpent, instead of saying the Lyrans jumped up.
Pastor's stupid.
That's what I thought. Books do weird things sometimes.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, I know a lot
They
of times.
do, and I feel like this series probably does a lot of more weird things.
A lot
than
of books
other
that I
books.
read, like they like switch how they're describing things every few sentences, and it really annoys me.
I think the passage you just read explains why the Lyran didn't say it. Visor 3 just popped out of the ground. I think he has more things to worry about than telling Visor 1 that it's a human. I don't know.
I just then there's a scene where Visor 3 just like puts axe in his mouth, and then all the other Animorphs stop what they're doing and they're like, "Come on, spit him out, come on, give him back."
I remember that.
Yeah, because it adds nothing to this book. Visor 3 just has axe in his mouth for a while, and the Animorphs are like, "Give him back, come on, you don't need, come on." So yeah.
I thought that when reading this, chapter 25 was one of the best chapters in the series.
Okay.
Containment failure in 2 minutes and 50 seconds. Have a nice day. That piece of writing, that sentence right there, reminds me of A Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Because all the computers have like programmed personalities, and some of them are really annoying.
Yeah.
I like Visor 3's dialogue here. It's just very Visor 3. Ha 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 ha, Visor 3 laughed. Water rushing in and you're stuck in that weak human body, Visor 1. Is that my promotion I see coming? You'd better hurry up and turn off your computer. If you're able. These Andalites are devils with computers, you know. Ha ha ha. Oh, so Visor 3 knows that Andalites are good with computers. It says right there.
It's true. Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Are we at chapter 26 now?
Why doesn't Rachel just rip Visor 3 in 2?
Because they're very diplomatic.
Because then they wouldn't have an antagonist in the series. Better.
Let him go. Let him go. I'll rip you in 2.
Yeah, I don't understand how like
You hate him. There's no reason to keep him alive.
Well, it's if she ripped him in 2, then he would die, and he would go limp, and his hand would let go of Axe, and Axe would fall into his mouth, and then he'd lose his ability to keep his mouth open, and he'd close his mouth, and then he'd be eaten. So she didn't want that happening.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think that's actually the case, by the way.
Okay.
My guess is that she didn't actually know if she was capable of killing him. So like she was, you know.
Yeah, she doesn't know what the snake's made
Could
of.
have tried, for Pete's sake.
Yeah, but if she tried, he just would have. If she tried and failed, he just would have been eaten. But if she bluffed, she had a chance of like negotiating, which is probably the safer thing. But that doesn't seem very Rachel-like.
It doesn't seem very Rachel-like. Rachel would definitely try to rip him in half. You're right. That's what Rachel would do.
So then they make it like so then Visor 1 runs back to her computer to try and fix the problem, and then she does. She stops the countdown. And Marco follows her in Gorilla Morph, and he like stop, and that's the one he reveals to the others that that's his mom, because like Rachel's about to kill her, and then he's like, "No, that's my mom, guys." Anyway, then Marco destroys this entire building, not by programming it to explode. He throws a chair at a window, and then and then the place is done. And then the place implodes.
I don't remember that at all.
Can I say another thing I read incorrectly here?
Yeah.
No, this one I actually like reread and was like, okay, that makes more sense. But I thought that he like shouted, shouting that was his mom, and that Visser One heard it because he knew she was gonna die anyway, and he wanted his mom to hear that, and that's how I interpreted the first time. But then I reread it and realized, oh, okay, so his mom doesn't know that he's free.
That would have been
Well, that would
cute.
have been cool if like Mako was like, "Hey, mom, it's me. I'm free. I'm helping save the world," and then killed
And
her.
then she
That'd be
died,
cool.
yeah. So all this stuff I'm reading wrong was cooler.
I got chills from that.
That would
That's
be
pretty
really cool.
That ending would have made me more happy, I think.
Yeah, so all this me reading it wrong made me
They
like
said
it
we
more.
got this. Oh, Loser One might not be dead. Ooh.
So later, Jake. I mean, this is still the second last chapter 26. Go, Jake said. We'll have guilds within a minute. Mako, yeah. Do what's right. Forget about what anybody thinks. Do what's right. And then Mako narration says, "That's my friend Jake. That's always his answer to everything, I guess. Do what's right." And somehow he always seems to know just what that is, or at least he thinks he does. Jake's a natural hero. Heroes always know what's right. Me, I'm a comedian. All I know is what's funny and what isn't.
Yeah, I just wrote man.
Was Jake referring to when he said do what's right? Was he referring to whether or not he should kill his mom? Like, what is that referring to?
I think so.
I think Jake was being ambiguous. He wanted Marco to make a decision that he thought was right, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure if Jake knew what he was trying to do at that
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because he even says it's your call.
Yeah.
No, he says that right after Rachel and Axe are running toward Visser One, and Jake is like, they're gonna go kill her. So just so you know, and then Marco's like, yeah, I know.
Oh, that happened.
Whether he should stop them from killing Visser One or not.
Okay, that was before the whole "no, that's my mom" thing happened. Okay. Huh.
That's before, yeah.
I didn't realize that. That's cool. That makes more sense. I was like confused. Like, wait, why did Jake say that? Okay. Cool.
Okay, so they're gonna kill his mom, and Visser 3 is above them. Correct?
I don't even know what happens here, man.
Marco throws a chair at the window, and then the whole place explodes, and somehow all of the Animorphs survive this. And
Well, before that, someone says Marco, acts as Marco, she remains a danger to us. Marco says, maybe not. Look, he saw us spare her life. How do you think Visser 3 would interpret that? Okay, Visser 3's been known to like torture people for information. So does he really think it's a great idea to like let Visser 3 assume that his mom is a traitor?
he can't torture Visser. He can't do anything to Visser One. Visser One's above him.
Yeah, and that's where I realized. Okay, yeah, that's my next note. Is wait, never mind. He can't do anything to Visser 1.
That seemed like a really weird, like, was that like the solution where it's like, oh no, we can do this because Visor 3 will think that she's a traitor? I was like confused by
Yeah,
how that was
that's why
said.
Visser 3 showed up, guys. See, it makes
That was like a
sense.
confusing ending to me.
I don't mind confusing endings.
But it's okay.
Anyway, I want to talk about like the last chapter now because who cares about all that
I
stuff?
Man, in my notes, I even called the snake. I said I'm not convinced. Yeah, I called it a Lyrian. I said that the thing watching them called it a Lyrian.
Wait, hold up. Are we on chapter 27? I have something to say about chapter 26.
I'm on chapter 26, so yeah.
Out of this part, I wrote brackets around it, and then in big letters, I wrote me. I'm sorry, Marco, Rachel said. The violent frenzy of battle was drained from her now. I didn't know. Shut up, Xena, I said harshly. Hey, I'm trying to be nice. I know, so shut up.
Mm,
It just seemed like me. It just seemed like something I would do.
that's a good line. I really like
I could just feel like how like somebody's like, oh, I'm so sorry,
I'm just
but
trying to be
it's like
nice.
you're just drawing attention to it. Just if you be quiet, then it won't hurt as bad,
So yeah, I personally I like help a lot. I like when people like.
Yeah, see, your issue is when people like don't really seem like they're gonna help. They're just doing it out of, whatever.
Yeah, my issue is when I don't trust that they actually want to help. It's more of a trust thing.
Hey,
Whereas I just don't want people to help me.
Some people require attention when they're feeling bad, and some people hate it.
my least favorite thing when I was in when I'm in like a server and then I say something like, "Oh, guys, I feel sad today" or whatever, is when someone would just go, "Oof."
Yeah,
Alright, it makes me
I
feel bad.
agree.
That's like literally what I would do
Oh,
in that situation.
well, I would rather not have anyone say anything. I'm putting this in a server where there's like a million people in there, and like if any of them has anything to say to me, that would be nice. And but then one of them, this person I don't know, just comes on to me and says, "Oof." Like, to me, that's just like you're blocking off other legitimate conversation that could happen.
It's true. Like, people see that and be like, "Oh, this must be just like a not big of a deal, just an oof kind of conversation."
Yeah,
and
exactly.
so I won't say anything.
If I DM it to somebody, like, if I ever DM somebody anything, or like a DM, or just even say something to a small group of people, I am not entitled to any certain kind of response. Never. I mean, when I'm in a big server, that's also
like
not
if I
true.
were okay, if you were a stranger and I was in a big server, I would definitely ignore you in that situation.
Yeah, if I'm in a big server, like what I'm hoping is that it will resonate with somebody in the big server and they will say something. But if not, I mean, that's just how it goes. When I'm talking to somebody, at no point, or when I'm talking to something, like when I'm texting somebody, at no point does anything I say, like, are you obligated to respond a certain way?
About the responding with oof, I definitely see that, and there's sometimes you're like, don't say oof, man, that's like jerk move. But I think some people see it as just a simple, okay, I understand, go on kind of thing, like okay, inviting you to say more. Because some people just like to like when they say something sad, they just want someone to say, okay, go on, and then keep talking. And I think that person sees oof as that kind of response.
Oh, I don't see it that way. I just see it as like, oof, okay, done. Oof,
Yeah.
okay, I said the oof
Yeah, I
thing.
say
Now we
like,
can move
"Oh,
on.
I've got that. Now I've done what's obligated of me."
Yeah, I said the oof thing. Now let's move on.
I think the important thing is to remember is that everyone views social situations differently and sees what the appropriate thing to do is differently, and you have to. It's really important to keep that in mind when trying to make people feel better, because what you would want someone to do to you isn't always what another person needs. It's
Yeah.
complicated.
I've had that even like where someone's telling me all this horrible stuff they're feeling, and I said, "Oh well I'm here. You know, if you need." I basically said, I'm here for you, and they interpret that as okay, so you're standing by and just trying to usually just be there or whatever, and they saw it as a dismissive thing. Where I was saying I'm here, you can talk to me. They saw it as me saying I'm here and that's all I'm doing.
I mean, depending on what you're going through and depending on like what you're seeking out, and you can't read that person's mind.
Yeah.
It mean different things.
And it was like a miscommunication on both of our parts, where they thought that like they said, if I had been more explicit and said, "I'm here if you need to talk, I'm here, you can talk to me, I'll help you through this," they would have been, "Oh yeah, absolutely." But it was just because I only said I'm here and didn't follow it up, that to me, that was all implied. Even if I just said "oof," it would be implied that, "Okay, you can talk to me," because that's the way I see it.
I feel like 80% of this episode is like us talking about our mental problems.
Yeah.
That's fine. Anyway, is it
Anyway,
Animorphs time?
okay. So I really liked the last part of this book where Marco talks about like a possible future where he might rescue his mother. We talk about the horrible things and we reminisce and we cry together and all that. And he says, and then slowly but surely we talk less about how horrible it all been. We start talking about the strange stuff, the weird stuff, the stuff that we could laugh at now that it was all over. See, it was my mom who taught me that the world was funny. I love that. I love that it like ties Marco's humor to his mom.
A while ago, I was talking about like, oh yeah, like I think I was talking about like what my ideal ending would be, but then I thought about the last chapter. I was like, that's not what Marco wants though. Marco wants his mom to be alive. Marco wants to laugh with her again. He doesn't want his mom to suddenly realize what's up and then kill her.
Yeah.
Like I thought about that immediately after I was saying it, but then I was okay. We'll get to that later. So before he talks about that, like the building explodes and they assume that Visor One died. I don't know if it explodes, but they assume Visor One died.
Marco throws a chair at a window.
Yeah, whatever. And because Tobias is like, oh man, I bet she's dying down there, and then everyone's like, oh hey, that's my. Then does he say it's his mom to everyone? I don't know, but
No, he says that before.
So yeah, they assume that Visor One died. When they're swimming away, Rachel's like, hey guys, I think I hear the noise of Visor One submarine. Maybe she escaped.
Oh, I really like this line at the end of chapter 26. He was heading for my mother, to save her, to destroy her, to capture her so that Visor 3 could enjoy watching her suffer. I don't know. Because I was swept into the dock and sank down into the deep water. I gasped desperately for air, my lungs on fire, and I searched for the shark inside me. Now when I read that, I was just like, yeah, he's searching for the shark so that he can turn into the shark. But now that I think about everything that Be Natural has said, I'm like, maybe he's metaphorically searching for the shark inside him because the shark is emotionless. So like being a shark will distance him from all this drama and crap that's happening with his mom, and then he can just focus on being an animorph and surviving this situation.
Yes, that is very cool.
We're in the last chapter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stars might be like, but I have something from chapter 21.
I'm about to say I have a theory about what the ending, what happens.
Can I read? Are you talking about when Visitor One escapes?
I guess.
Okay, I want to talk about this. We were talking about Rachel and Marco's chemistry in this book, and there's another good moment of that where they're flying away. Rachel says, "Oh, I think I heard something," and then I didn't hear anything either. Maybe Rachel was just making it up. Maybe she was trying to give me some tiny hope to cling on to. It didn't sound like something Rachel would do, but there are hidden depths to Rachel. There are times she'll surprise you. Thanks, Xena, I said. You know, if she'd said, "You're welcome," I'd have known it was a lie, that she hadn't heard a sub, that she was just trying to be nice. Thanks for what? For hearing that sub? For paying more attention than you, Marco? Rachel sneered in her usual Rachel sneer. You know, possibly the reason I notice more than you do, Marco, is that I don't use half my brain making dumb jokes and the other half of my brain laughing at them. I like the next line too. I don't mind when the jokes are at my own expense, as long as they're funny.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good. That's the opposite of what's the irony gods, though, because the irony gods are always doing bad things at his expense, and it's not funny.
I think this is one of those books where the discussion about it is better than the book itself.
I mean, yeah.
Oh yeah, this discussion has been way better. The book is great, but like
The book is, I wouldn't call it great. I would say it has elements in it that can be that are like they're hidden elements. Kind of, it has elements in it that you can like make great by talking about them, but not. I don't think they're great the way they're presented in the book.
Yeah, probably not.
That's my opinion.
So at that part, Rachel says something, and Marco's like, "Oh, dang, that's not really there." And Rachel's like, "No, it is, dummy. Right? Right?"
Yeah.
Okay. This might sound like a stretch, but that just reminded me so much of
Elvis.
Huh? No, not of Elvis.
Always complains about bringing up Elvis, but half the time it's you who brings him up.
That's true. You're right.
Have you guys seen the episode of SpongeBob? Have you seen this Snell, aka Gary Come Home?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is spoilers for that episode. At the end of the episode, SpongeBob's been looking for Gary the whole. I don't know if this is going to be put in the podcast, but SpongeBob's been looking for Gary the whole time, and then at the end he's like given up, and he just stares at a billboard he put up saying, "Have you seen this Snell?" And there's a picture of Gary, and he's like, "Man, Gary, I miss you so much." And then he hears a meow, and he's like, "Man, I miss you so much. I can just hear you meow right now." And he hears a meow again. He's like, "Man, it's right there." And then Gary like is there meowing behind him. He like crawls on his head and purring. And he's like, "Man, Gary, it's so hard to forget about you. It's like you're out of my face." And he's like, "Cut that out, Gary. Your purring is making it hard to forget you." And he's like, "Oh my gosh, Gary, you're here." And the way that Marco is like,
That's great
"Thanks,
too,
there's
Stu, but
no
that's like
stuff."
a really heavy.
Huh? Oh no, your voice is gone.
Wait, so what's your theory then?
No, it's not. No, this has nothing to do with the theory. That's just it reminded me of that.
Oh.
Like it was so ingrained in my head.
Because that's in a lot of that's in a lot of media.
Oh, I haven't seen it before.
Really?
It just it just smacked me in the face like, oh, this is just I couldn't get that Gary Come Home out of my head. That scene from the Have You Seen the Snell episode. It seemed it was for some reason, and reading it after I thought it didn't seem that similar. But for some reason, as soon as I read it, it was the only thing that came to mind, and I couldn't remove it from it.
Stu, have you seen Monsters Inc?
Yeah.
They literally do that in that movie.
What did they do?
The thing you just described.
The thing you just Sully thinks that Boo has been crushed in the crushing machine, and he grabs the crushing machine and it's got like one of the light bulbs that he put on Boo's outfit, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, it's so sad. I can." And then, but really, Boo is with the rest of the monster children and their daycare person, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, I can still hear her voice, but Boo's actually like in the distance, like yelling and screaming like children do, and then like and then she shows up and he's like, "Oh, I was actually hearing you." You
Yeah.
know,
Boy, you're right, man. Monsters Inc. is a good movie.
it's a really good.
Well, Monsters Inc. also has this revolutionary idea.
No, I just remembered, like, when you said that, it reminded me of all these other scenes from Monsters. I think that was one of the first movies I ever watched, Monsters Inc.
Monsters Inc. always scared me as a kid because I didn't like the big slug lady. She freaked me out. I didn't like watching the movie because of that.
We're talking about SpongeBob, not Monsters Inc. This is not the Monsters Inc. podcast. Anyway, SpongeBob.
What's your freaking theory, sir?
What? Oh, there's no theory. Okay. My theory, it only applies if Visser 3 is a Lyrian.
Okay, so it doesn't
Okay.
work.
All
I still
right.
want to hear it though. I'm curious.
And it wasn't a theory. It was just like, okay, maybe this is the case. Maybe she's like hinting at this. Cause okay, so I read this and I was like, okay, she's like saying there's a sub that left, and there's a Lyrian that was on a sub with the Visser, I think. So maybe the Lyrian shouldn't drive subs. And maybe when he said Visser 3 was going, okay, so like Visser 3 goes to Visser 1 at the end, right?
What?
Mhm.
Yeah, like Visser 3.
We're assuming.
Wait, no, the Lyrian.
This is 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, no. Okay, so at the end, oh, it doesn't have to. At the end, the Lyrian goes to Mom, and it's assumed to be a Lyrian controller. And I thought that it was also Visser 3, so I thought that maybe Marco thought it was Visser 3. Anyway, I was thinking maybe, and I wasn't convinced of this, but I thought maybe, I wasn't sure if maybe she was implying it, because it didn't seem to make much sense. This Lyrian like read the mom's mind and realized that she's a good person deep down, and then the Lyrian like grabbed her and took her in the sub and then drove her off and then got the yolk out of her head, and now her mom's good. And because the whole time I read this is with the assumption that
How would this work if Visser 1 was or Visser 3 was the Lyran?
it's a second Lyrian that he thought was Visser 3. Another Lyrian came in because
So
it's like,
complicated. This is even more convoluted than the actual story.
So Visser 3 doesn't need to be a Lyran for this to work out.
well, but in my thought it was, because at the end it says, oh, Visser 3 could enjoy watching, so I thought Marco thought it was Visser 3.
3 shows up, and you're like, what if the Lyran? What if the
Okay,
Lyran?
wait. I have to explain something. I have to explain myself.
Like, actually, Visser 1's a good person, and I should get the Yerk slug out.
No. He can read the minds, and he can see that the mom. He can read through the yolk and into the mom's head.
Hang on, but so this also doesn't work if the Lyrian is a controller, which it probably is.
Okay, my thought was that since Visser 3 got in, it was and since the Shark got in, it's a very open facility, and Lyrians and Visser 3 can just come and go as they
How would
please.
there be a Lyran on Earth?
They're amphibious.
No,
They just fall to swim in the water.
They can just through space.
Well, no, Stur said earlier that he thinks that the Lyrians aren't
no. How
controllers.
did they get there without the Yerks?
They just the same way Visser 3 did. He just waltzed the same way the Animorphs did. Just walk into the big hole in the wall. I don't know.
How did we get Lyra to Earth?
Huh?
How did we get to this part of the solar system?
What, the Lyrians? They're there. There's a Lyrian in the book.
Yeah, and it was captured by the
It's only there
Yerks.
because it's a controller, Stir.
I didn't know. I assumed it wasn't. I assumed it was just really smart.
So they
You assumed it was Visser 3.
I assumed there's one Visser 3 Lyrian, and there's another Lyrian that was the one that was in the sub with Visser 1 that is currently negotiating with the Yerks, but just fooling them.
Okay.
And I thought that the ending was maybe insinuating that yes, the Lyrians are good, and they got his mom and took her onto a sub, and is going to tie her in the basement until the Yerk comes out.
Let me tell you about my theory, which is that an aquatic clown.
That sounds very nice, Stir. Thanks for sharing.
An aquatic clown named Buppo.
By the way, this doesn't go to the Theories channel because I know it's false, and I didn't actually think it was a thing. I just thought that she might have been insinuating it, but it was
No,
confusing.
it was really cute. I really liked it.
That theory requires so much misinformation.
Well, that's what I had. I had so much misinformation.
This book ending was confusing.
You can't tell me that the ending wasn't a mess if you had that much misinformation.
Yeah.
I kind of like it.
I only like it because you didn't realize how much of a mess it was.
Okay,
You
I'm
interpreted
nodding.
it wrong.
Okay.
Be natural.
Okay.
Tell us your theory.
Okay.
Be natural. Tell us your theory.
My theory is that Visitor 1 was floating along when a large aquatic clown named Buppo came along. He transformed the body cavity of his body into a breathable submarine for her and then scooted away, and that's the sound that Marco heard. Then Buppo the clown, he took Visitor 3 to his own private island and he starved the York out, and then he and Marco's mom, were very good friends. And then later it's gonna be revealed that this happened, and they're gonna say thanks, Buppo the clown, and he's gonna be an ally for many books to come. And Visitor mom, and Marco's mom gonna be Marco mom again. She gonna very help. Anyway.
Okay, so I'll just read my notes just so you see what I was thinking when I read this, which is misinformation. Also, did Visser 3 not read Mirko's mind and find out the Analyte bandaged to human? Because, he was Illyrian, as you know. And I said, I think Visser 3, in quotation marks, was a straight Illyrian that read Visser 1's human mind and decided she was worth saving, then drove the sub away. I assume that was intentional since they made such a big deal out of it, they being Capitate.
This ending's already confusing. You're making it even more confusing for listeners, but we make
Anyway,
all the
I'm not
stuff that we don't
convinced
have
that
to.
Lyrian up there is Visser 3. They can read minds, and they've proven to be intelligent in how they use that power. They've outsmarted the Yurts with it. The Lyrian probably knows Visser 1 is Marco's mom.
Do you like this book better knowing that all this stuff is wrong?
Uh,
Yeah, do you like it better knowing the truth?
I like it better today than I did when I finished reading it.
I think all of us do.
I was writing haikus, and I was writing the haiku stuff for my summary. That's just how I take notes at this point. And I was like in chapter 25 and 26 and 27. I wasn't sure like what is important. And then for the last one, I just said, "All right, it seems like I'll need to read the last few chapters one more time," because at that point I wasn't sure what the ending was, and I'm still not.
And yet this last quarter of the book made it so that it saved the whole thing for you. So that's immense. 7 thumbs down.
Yeah, I'd give it a thumbs up now though.
Well, don't change
That's
your
very
don't
nice.
change your
Don't
reaction.
change
Yeah, I won't change it. I won't change it.
Hey, are we gonna talk about the last half page of this book and then finish the podcast episode?
I already talked about it. I already talked about like how Marco's mom was the one who gave him his sense of humor, and that was a cool thing.
Well, there's another quote I wanted to read.
Wait, you talked about that? We already talked about how Dvisity was a clone the whole time, and
That didn't happen. If she was gone, really, really gone, then I could be a normal person again. I could be sad and then put it behind me. I could be free. If she was still alive, still trapped, then I was trapped too. I still had to try and save her. I would be a prisoner of hope. And then Jake asks if he's okay. Like I always say, you have to decide whether you think life is tragedy or comedy. I long ago decided to look for the joke in life. And now I had to decide whether in my own mind she was still dead or alive. And then he picks his mom and says, "Yeah, I'm fine, Jake. I'll be better when she's free again." So I thought that was cool.
That was really cool.
Yeah, I like how this book ended. I also like how this book didn't end with, I don't know. I mean, I guess I didn't. Whatever. This book didn't end with them all like sitting at home watching TV and reflecting. They were just
Okay.
away.
Look, what was that sentence again? And then I dumped a bucket of water on Marco's head, and we all went home. Yeah.
Was that book 14? Yeah, it was. That was the last book. What a silly. Yeah, the book like in the very last chapter, like literally like visibly flew away, and then Rachel dumped a bucket of water, or Cassie dumped a bucket of water on Marco's head, and then
the last book we read was the poop book?
Yeah, the last book we read was the poop book.
Man, it's with a lot of these books, like I dislike the first long section of them, but all of them, every book so far, with the exception of the Strunk book, have had endings that have been good. There's like, okay, yeah, I think the last section of the book was better than the rest of it.
Most of them have had really good endings. I've been so impressed by the endings of these Animorphs
Be
books.
happy for me and all those who fly free.
Like none of these books have felt like the ending was like okay at the beginning. The first few books I thought the endings were rushed. Because there was also a great Visitor 3 chase scene or whatever. So I remember complaining about the endings a lot in the first few episodes.
I think honestly part of that might just been because the first like 4 books had endings that seemed really similar to each other, where it always ended with like either like it usually ended with them running away from Visit 3 in this huge like chase scene slash fight thing. Well, I
Yeah.
feel like if that didn't happen 4 times in a row, it wouldn't have been a problem, you know? Now that we've seen a bunch of different types of endings, even if a similar ending happened, it wouldn't be an issue, you know?
Well, yeah, because I was thinking like, okay, is every book can end with this? And then it kept ending with that. Every book's ending with this, man. But then Financial was like, no, hold your horses. It's not every book yet, just so far.
Man, I'm so tired of every book ending with Marco throwing a chair at the Yurks and then they all explode.
Tired of every book ending with Visser 3 actually being Marco's mom the whole time and then turning into a yellow snake that's also a mind controlling Lyran. And then this clown turning into a submarine that Visser 3 goes inside and then becoming secret friends with Marco's mom for several years before letting her go.
We started recording 5 hours ago.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
This might be 2
This
episodes.
book is like making me. I know this book is. It just wasn't even that special, but now I'm just like, this book is the Bible.
To be fair, this isn't quite as long as we recorded for when we recorded Andalite Chronicles, although that was separated into 2 different days. So
Yeah. My last note for this book. Okay, so why do I keep highlighting like the last chapter? Like I know it's good, okay? Lift up your standards better. You know, this really isn't helping that all the words are yellow now because you really can't tell what to look at. But my last note for this book was just, huh. And I like that.
Oh, yeah, I thought the ending was really weird. How it's like, oh yeah, if my mom's dead, then I could finally not be a prisoner of hope anymore. Like that seemed really like odd to me.
Oh no, I think I feel that.
It was a weird message for a kids book to me.
Yeah, you're right. This whole series is trying to weird messages for kids' books. Like, don't trust your parents.
My last notes were just, whoa, what is this last 2 minutes? Yeah, that ending is weird. Last 2 minutes referring to the last 2 minutes of the audiobook.
Mhm.
Oh, I have some general Animorphs notes. If we're done talking about this book.
Okay.
So, any other notes?
Nope.
Book 10, you guys mentioned that Marco's in tune with his emotions, and I was like, yeah, he is in tune with his emotions more than most Animorphs. He also spends a lot of time talking about like the effects of being an Animorph, seemingly more than everyone else does.
Oh, that hasn't come up a lot recently.
It hasn't, no.
Talked about it in this book like in a different way though, just like the effects of his mom being a Yurk and all that.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
effect of being an Animorph specifically, I guess, not just morphing, but the mental effect of being an Animorph. Marco talks about it way more than anyone else,
Yeah.
which is a cool part of his character.
I appreciated. I mean, I think he did cover in this book, but from a different angle, from the angle of my mom is Visitor One. You know, like
Yeah,
I considered that as like a similar angle. I mean, a similar thing, but from a different angle. So I appreciated it.
and I have 2 general notes about the Animorphs I thought about. I just thought it'd be really cool if the Yeerks lost in the end of the series by just like there being a Yeerk rebellion, like that one guy in the observatory in book 8, like Yeerk sabotage. That's how the Yeerks end up losing. I think it'd be fitting because all the Animorphs plans don't really. I mean, at least in the earlier books, all the Animorphs plans just failed. So it'd be cool if they ended up winning just because the Yeerks sabotaged themselves. Because
Figured out that they need to throw more chairs at things.
none of the Yeerks are nice to each other, so it makes sense for me. You know, like
There was that one Yerk who fell in love.
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, that was a sabotage guy, so it makes sense.
Legend tells
Yeah.
of Yurk who fell in love.
And my other note was that I like the title of this book because it seems I'm starting to like these book titles, honestly. Because the escape refers to the escape that Visor One makes at the end, and that's like a cool like. It seems very
No,
like
that would solve the problem. Hey, Visser 1 might be dead, guys.
Guys,
I don't think
Visor
Visor One's
really
dead.
dead. We'll never
Shut
see her
up.
again. She's
Yeah,
all
I thought that
done.
was a cool like subtle title, like oh the escape, it just refers to the very last part of the book, and I realized that the secret in the episode we're like what there's no secret in this book, but I realized wait does the secret refer to the secret of how to get rid of the skunk smell? Because like that makes sense.
I like that.
Yeah, me too.
I think I'm just starting to like these titles more because they seem so broad, but they can be related to like specific subtle things in the books. And maybe that's just me giving too much credit, but they're like fun little puzzles to figure out how the heck you're supposed to relate the titles to each book, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like he's escaping on the cover.
I assume they refer to like Marco escaping from his life to be a shark boy.
Sure, maybe.
Close your eyes, shut your mouth.
He's
dream a
escaping
dream
from
to
his
get us
emotions.
out. Dream, 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 dream.
Dude, I love when the freaking bass drops and like it gets all like metal and he like sounds all angry.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Sharkboy and Lava Girl, that movie
Oh,
that's
you watched
awesome.
Sharkboy and Lava Girl with us,
No, I
Stuart.
haven't seen
That
it.
movie,
I saw one scene that was really funny.
I watched more movies this year than I've probably watched any year in my life, and that was probably the most enjoyable one. And I've watched so many good movies this year, but that one just put me in such a good mood. Anyway, we done. I mean, I don't mean to sound rude with that. Like, do you guys have any more notes?
No.
No, my intent was to be in bed 4 hours ago. So I'm really tired. My like head's hurting, but I'm still in a good mood.
This was a good discussion.
I'm glad we had such a cool heart-to-heart thing.
Yeah.
This discussion is probably better than the episode will be, but this was a good discussion.
Okay, we gotta sign off.
Man, all my like final notes are like, yeah, the visit one mom stuff doesn't save this book. I mean, it was cool, but yeah, a lot of my notes I disagree with at this point. You know.
Yeah, my final note is this is Marco's crocodile book, which I disagree with now.
Haha, yay, I succeeded. I've converted you two.
Good job. I'm being natural.
I'm batter.
I'm mustard.
I'm stir.
You have to say
Joke time, joke time, jokey time, joke time, joke time, joke time, joke time, joke time.
Do you remember what the last joke was?
If you read it, just read
I
it.
believe. Oh, it was the skunk one. Okay.
What? The skunk one?
What contest do skunks always win? Smelling bees.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, okay. Man, it would
Okay.
that one lined up with book 9.
Yeah.
This one's gonna be about sharks. Watch.
Hey, wait. What if you try and come up with a joke about the animal on each cover? Someone has to come up with a joke about a shark. Or like,
What's the hammerhead's favorite food?
Hammers.
Nails.
Oh, I have one. How does a hammerhead catch its prey?
How?
He makes it hammer dead.
Hey, how does a bat catch its prey?
wait, we can't do that yet. We gotta get to the bat book.
Echolocation.
No, we gotta get to the bat. Spoilers!
What, the bat book was like book 10, wasn't it?
Shut up. No, it wasn't on the cover.
Be natural. Give your hammerhead shark joke.
We don't all have to come up with one.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to make sure you had a chance.
Okay, I have one. Why did the cat receive an award?
Perfect attendance.
Perfect.
Still, what did you say?
I said he had perfect attendance in school.
That's correct. Well, kind of. She had perfect attendance.
I don't think this is going to be kept in if it's all one episode.
I don't
Put
care.
that at the beginning. It's better than the other one.
I don't care. I have fun saying it.
Oh, yeah, it's very fun. I'm just making sure you're aware that it might not be included.
I do not care, Stir. I do not care.
Good, that's a good attitude.
You think we were making this podcast if any of it mattered and we weren't just doing it for fun?
Yeah.
We're doing this for
No,
money.
we're doing this because clearly there are not enough Animorphs podcasts on the market.
Yeah, we're doing this for money. We're doing this for the profits.
All the girls will flock to my doorstep as soon as I drop the new podcast episode.
Yeah.
Dude, I could have made $2.30 if I put ads on every episode at this point by now.
What do you mean? We already have ads. Go out and buy Kirby's Dream Land 2.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Call Mr. John Kirby's Dream on 2 and get him to get that money he owes us. Pay up, John Kirby's Dream on 2.